Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for coming. It's a really big deal for us. This year, we're celebrating 20 years on the market, 20 years servicing small and mid-sized company across the southern Ontario. And if you don't mind, I go a little bit back in time. In 2005, two companies born, CIT Corp and VI Professional Solutions. And at that time, it was the classical schema, IT outsourcing, value-added resellers, IT integrators. At some point, we met on some project. We worked together for common customer, so that we met. And year to follow, we've been meeting each other on that project, another project. And then came 2010, and cloud saga started. I know there's a couple of people in the audience here who remember what the DPoS is, what's the first hosted exchange is, how it worked. And at that time also born a term CSP, the cloud service provider. And we become a cloud service provider. We deliver for our customers cloud services. And then 2014, and SaaS as software as a service born. And all the major software vendors, starting from Microsoft, went full to the cloud and start deliver their application from the cloud. So we become an MSP, managed services provider. And then in 2020, just before a pandemic, we decided to create an umbrella. We call it Cloud IT, and that works as a one name for both companies. We work together all the time. And when pandemic hit the market, it was a big shock because people didn't know what to do. And yes, we provided the cloud service, we provided remote access, hosted services. Somebody already been on it, somebody told, no, not now, don't have budget, a little bit. The next day after the market close been announced, we got phone calls. How can get my system online? How can get my system in the cloud? How can work from home? So at that time, the new term, the new workflow, the new way of work is born, and it's called XaaS, everything as a service. Whatever you can automate, whatever you can monitor remotely, whatever you can send remote control command, become a managed services. Okay? So we start to manage IT, Wi-Fi, cloud, security, whatever it is. And the latest development is generative AI. And now we are switching our model from everything as a service, managed everything provider, to managed intelligence provider. So we help our customers to jump on this AI train before the last car will be on a platform, a little bit before, so they will not lose this train. So together we have about 150 years of combined experience from 8 different countries, 200 plus professional certifications, and yes, we speak 10 different languages, including AI and human. And today, it's a big day for us. We officially announcing launch of the AI practice within the company. So last November, December, and January, thank you. Last year, November and December, and January this year, me and our CTO Vladimir, we've been attending the special training provided by TD SYNNEX. It's called Destination AI. It's a business accelerator program. So we are official graduate, officially certified. It took a little bit of time to prepare everything on the backgrounds. Marketing still in preparation as usual. But yes, we officially announcing today the launch of this practice, and we already have customers that work with us on that practice. And this morning, from one of them, I heard a great results. So we continue to be a value-added reseller. We continue to be IT integrator. We continue to be IT outsourcer. We continue to be a managed services provider. And I call it the full cycle managed everything service provider. And yes, today it become managed intelligence provider. Yep. So AI is here to stay. It's not going everywhere. Despite any rumors, any concerns, it's here. There are many booze, many hype on the market. Don't read the mass media. I don't like journalists. They don't understand what they are talking about. Listen to professionals. So, yes, we are now on the back of the first hype. You know, each technology, it's always the first hype. The Fortune 500 jump on it, throw enormous amount of money to those technology, fail. They can afford it. They have enough money to afford this failure. And then it's dropping. But after this drop, when it will be bottom at stabilization, and then it will start the hockey stick. So we are now at the drop cycle of the first hype. And that's exactly the right time to jump into this train. Because now we know the first failures, now we know the first wrongdoing, do and don'ts. We'll learn it from the big companies that can afford that. And then we start to stabilize, and technology is self-stabilize, and now we can help small and mid-sized guys to get on board. So we will be talking today different stuff, but focus it on AI. And the first presenter will be Brian Kaiser, our account manager from TD SYNNEX, and I have to say a big thank you for the biggest IT distributor in the world for the support they are giving us, because they give us tremendous support. And by the way, TD SYNNEX is sponsoring this event today, and TD SYNNEX arranged other vendors that support this event today. And this Destination AI Business Accelerator, that's the huge support to all this AI journey. So the next one will be a keynote from Microsoft. Copilot, what it is, what it's not, why the Microsoft Copilot 365, what's the current reality, what's the vision, and what's the solution by Microsoft. And next, our CTO, Vladimir, will tell you a couple of real-life stories. How to deploy Copilot, what to do, what not to do, what to think about. Because AI is not a shelf product. You cannot buy this, connect to this, and this will work. No, never. It's a process. You have to prepare your information, you have to prepare your infrastructure, you have to think about the security, because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And then we have, I very loved these companies, both of them, and Dell and Lenovo, and it's absolutely amazing when they participate together in the event, because it's a competition. It's always competition. So that's the right time to squeeze out from them some special pricing. And then, yes, security. The bad actors learning AI much faster than we do. And we already see on internet AI bots that call you guys and pretend that there is a call from the CRA, from Royal Bank, from whatever it is, and try to squeeze money out of you. So Fortinet is one of the best and fast-growing security companies, Canadian, by the way, that help small and mid-sized businesses protect their environment and put back bad actors aside. And another thing that got a huge traction during the pandemic, people work from home. People work from everywhere. Somebody moved to Mexico, somebody moved to Bali, but they still need to communicate and collaborate with their teams. They still need to do the business meetings, and the huge boost got the all audio video conferencing. And now we have AI embedded meeting bars. You will see it here. We will demonstrate you a couple of things today. And thank you, Microsoft, Copilot. You can prepare the business meeting minutes really in minutes, not in hours. And we will show you today how to do that. And last but not least, the Foxit. A very interesting vendor that's growing last several years, and which is alternative for Adobe. I don't like Adobe. The big monopoly that thinks they can do everything and charge you triple time for nothing. So Foxit provide the same tools for editing, analyzing PDF documents, manage the digital signatures, and many other stuff. So you will hear from Foxit as well. And that's it. Brian.
Okay, so my name is Brian Kaiser. I am the client executive for Vlad and all the Vlads that there possibly could be. I've known them for quite some time. Who TD SYNNEX is, for anybody who doesn't know who's in the room, we're the largest global distributor. We are in over 100 countries in the world, over 24,000 employees. We do about, well, it changes all the time, call it about 100 billion Canadian if you want to convert it. In annual revenues. And what that really means to you is not a lot, because it's got nothing to do with you. But what we do is we help to connect partners, Vlad, with all the vendor partners you see here and hundreds more. We have approximately 1,500 vendors globally that we work with. And what we do is we help bring all those solutions to life because, as we all know, without a server, you don't really need the Fortinet. Without, the software and the Microsoft at the back of the room, what are you punching in on a keyboard, right? So we help them bring it all together. From cloud services, cybersecurity, AI, and what the real partnership that we do is we end up being the muscle behind your reseller. So we have 7 distribution centers across Canada making logistics and shipping products to you faster, easier. We expand the footprint of your customers by being able to hold products, help them bundle, put them together, image asset tags. You've probably all done that stuff before. Have them ready for deployments. I'm sure since COVID, everybody here has loved shipping everything to 57 different addresses instead of one location where they said, come pick it up from my office. It hasn't made that any more complicated, but we take that part and make it easier for our partners and for you as well, and give you that experience to your customer, which is, way that you're helping to have it all situated and ready to go. So when they power on that notebook, it's ready to go. One of the things that we'll talk about is an experience that I've had with partners, and the reasons why we're here to proudly to support CIT is they have grown with us. They have shown true partnership and true investment into the programs that we offer and expanding the knowledge. A lot of partners do just want to sell boxes to you. They don't. They want to actually grow and help you solve your problems that you're experiencing. And I think everybody who's here probably identifies that with them as well too. And by taking courses, like you said, through us with the Destination AI, that was an exclusive program. We have 7,000 partners in Canada that are resellers. And that program, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it was probably 30 that showed up and did that. And everyone there, their sales have increased drastically because they're able to help people in a more proficient way. Again, vendor lineup. This is a sample of some of the vendors we have. A lot of them are in the room. And we like to provide specialized information to you to help you with your solution. One thing I will say is we are in a new era. Everybody's lived through COVID and all the fun that was with not being able to get the product you want, basically taking anything you could. This is kind of like COVID 2.0. Products are back ordered. Pricing is not always guaranteed by vendors. We are in an absolute new landscape. We have manufacturers who are at the mercy of chip suppliers who are wanting to produce more high-end chips than they are low-end chips. So depending on your needs or what your customers' needs are, waiting can be more problematic. We have options. Vlad has options where he can finance opportunities for you to bring it up now if your budget requires it, so that you don't have to be at the mercy of another price increase and another price increase that we keep seeing coming, because we are seeing consistent price increases coming from many vendors. Okay, and that's one of the things where we are at their mercy just as much as Vlad is at ours and theirs. Memory prices have gone up at least 50% in the last 2 years, and that's probably out of date even this morning. We've seen server hikes go up at least 15+%, and we've seen logistics freight go up because of the cost of diesel. And no way that's not out to date, my number there. I've seen my gas bill. One of the last things I want to touch on is Cloud IT is not just a member who has completed the Destination AI training. They are a proud partner member. Now what that means is, again, we have about 7,000 Canadian partners, and that group is about 155. It's very select on who we allow in, and it's strategic on people who are wanting to grow, develop, and be more specialized and strategic with what they're doing. And so that just tells you, because Vlad is one of 2% of the partners in Canada that we assist with that are actually part of that program. And that's it.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. Mic preparation.
Everyone, can you hear me okay? Yeah? Okay, so I might not need the mic. All right, here we are, guys. So first and foremost, congratulations, Cloud IT, and welcome everybody. My name is Ashley Evans. I'm here representing Microsoft. I am a sales leader for what we call at Microsoft AI Business Solutions, which is, think of anything in your productivity suite like M365 all the way up to Copilot. So I have 30 minutes with you guys. We're doing a mishmash of stuff. I want to show you sort of, and I give you an idea of what Microsoft's vision is for an AI-infused workforce. I want to talk a little bit about how we are thinking about differentiating ourselves in the market among all of the crazy new innovations and LLMs and solutions out there around AI. And then I'm hoping I can give you a sprinkle of prompting excellence. So if you're just starting to dabble into using AI or using tools like Copilot, what are some of the principles and fundamentals you want to really anchor your prompting on? And then if we have time, I'll show you Copilot, a little bit about Copilot and how to use it. Okay? I was listening to a podcast a couple weeks ago, and I was absolutely shocked at the statistic that I heard, and that was, and this is in the United States, and I assume, I'm making an assumption that it's very similar in Canada, if not lower, that the approval rating for AI right now among the general population is 20%. Meaning 80% of you in the room are probably very skeptical and scared and nervous about this technology. Now that came as a big shock to me because I'm in the technology industry, and we live and breathe this stuff every day, and we're seeing the power that it has, but it's a really scary technology. It's very disruptive. It's changing a lot of the way, thinking about the ways that we work and our operating models, our human capital. There's so many implications out there. And so it's not lost on me, as we're talking today, that there's probably some skeptics. But what really gets me is these statistics here. So despite there being this 20% approval rating, despite 80% of the folks in the room being skeptics about AI, 86% of SMB workers are using AI tools at work, and 80% are bringing their own AI. Okay, so there's this friction, there's this skepticism, there's this fear, but there's also at the same time, in parallel, this enthusiasm about what this technology can do for you, your organization, and the people that work for your organizations. But what this is doing is it's creating a lot of risk right? When we aren't preparing ourselves for AI and people are bringing AI to work, it's exposing a lot of risk when it comes to things like security and data sensitivity and data leakage. So 80% of leaders cited leakage of sensitive data as their main concern for AI, okay? But if you're being proactive about AI, if you're putting plans in place, if you're working with partners like Cloud IT to get prepared for AI, you can mitigate this. But you got to get in front of it. 55% of leaders lack understanding of how AI is and will be regulated and are seeking guidance. That doesn't surprise me either. You got to get your partnerships talking to you about this, how you should be thinking about organizing your businesses to prepare for this. So that's the context. It's not lost on me that there is some skepticism out there, and I don't want this to be a sales pitch. I'm going to talk a little bit about what Microsoft's vision is, where we see the market going, and then we'll talk about Copilot specifically. So we have this vision. I'm assuming most of you in the room have not heard of this concept of the frontier firm. But this is Microsoft's vision for like the AI-powered organization of the future, okay? And we sort of see patterns emerging as organizations are moving to this frontier firm vision. And these patterns really represent how AI is being used at different levels of sophistication within an organization. The first one here is called human with assistant. So those of you that are using AI at home or using it a little bit in your work to accelerate your learning or accelerate your productivity, you're probably in that human with assistant phase. Okay, so you're using an AI tool like Copilot, like ChatGPT, to do what you do, but do it better and faster. Okay? Human and agent teams is kind of phase 2, and this is where you think about having sort of like a one-to-many relationship with your AI tools. You have a specialist AI agent who's going to help you with your IT ticketing system. You have a AI agent that's going to help you with employee onboarding. You have an AI agent doing something else that's managing your business processes. But there's one human, many agents. The third is this human-led, agent-operated vision. And I would say we're still, the large majority of organizations, Microsoft included, are not fully here yet. But this is where you have humans overseeing and orchestrating a set of agents that are built into the operating model at the core of an organization. And these agents could be working with each other, they could be working independently, but they are absolutely working autonomously with human oversight. Okay? So that's kind of the vision, and we're seeing organizations shifting to this phase 3, but the vast majority of small, medium businesses are still in that phase 1, if not phase 0 phase or stage. And so navigating this journey and looking inside your organization and determining what the roadmap to AI looks like for you, it's really requiring these essential shifts in the way that we're thinking about our businesses. And it's really about these two things. So preparing your workforce for human-agent collaboration. This means upskilling, making sure that your employees are thriving and are always on learning. At the end of the day, especially the younger generation, they're only going to want to work for organizations that create a culture that break patterns of inertia and create this culture of always on learning. And the second is navigating the economics of digital labor. Okay, and I don't mean this to mean that you've got to consider rationalizing your workforce and replacing all of your operations with agents. However, it does require you to think about what do you want that ratio to look like in that one-to-many human-agent relationship. What does that mean to you and your organization? Where do you want to invest in people talent to do creative thinking, strategic work, and where do you want to invest in digital labor like agents to do those high effort, low value tasks? Okay? So that's sort of our vision. I'm going to jump right now into the solution. I'm from Microsoft, so I'm going to tell you our solution, but there are many solutions out there. What I want to leave you with is an idea of where we are differentiated in the market. Okay, so we have our hero product right now is called M365 Copilot. Everybody that has a Microsoft license, Microsoft 365 license, has some form of this for free, but there's two tiers. There's a free version and a paid one. What I'm talking about right now is the paid version, but I will touch on what you can get out of the box for free. But this is really where we are differentiated. The first thing I'm going to call out is Work IQ. Okay? So imagine AI having access to all of the signals that are being collected through your use with M365 applications, or data that's sitting on your SharePoint or on your organization's tenant. That essentially is what Work IQ is. It's the intelligence layer that personalizes your interactions with Copilot based on your work context. And no other AI vendor can do that out there, because no other AI vendor is natively integrated into the productivity tools that you use every day. Okay? So that's Work IQ in like the 10-second or 20-second explanation. Agentic work. So we talk about the use of AI in kind of two ways. There's one that's like information gathering or accelerated learning. You're talking to AI and it's giving you back information. When I talk about agentic work, I'm talking about AI actually doing things for you. Okay, so executing tasks. And we've come a long way with making sure that you can use Copilot to actually execute tasks for you within the M365 apps. So think of this as generate an email for me and send it. Create a PowerPoint presentation from scratch and oops, I need you to modify slides 6, 7, 8, 9 here and add these images. All language-based, and it's actually executing the tasks for you on the fly. Those are just two examples, but there's so many. Me personally, I get a lot of value out of agentic work using Excel. I don't need to be an Excel expert. I don't need to be a formula guru. Now I can just talk to Excel as if it is my assistant, and it will figure out all the formulas for me. So that's what I mean by agentic work. Moving from a chat-based tool to an assistant that's actually executing tasks for you. Multi-model, this is coming up more than ever now, okay? Because there is a massive race across the globe to have the best large language model out there. We see OpenAI was like the leader for a while. Now we're seeing Claude come up and kind of encroach in that territory. There are over 1,100 large language models out there, if not more, and it's growing at an exponential rate. But because we are a platform organization, we haven't put effort into building the best large language models out there. We have put our effort and investment into making sure that those models are brought into the platform and the solutions that you use every day. So multi-model essentially means that if you invest in Microsoft, you're not investing in a Microsoft LLM, you're investing in all of the best LLMs, and you're bringing it to your work in a very secure fashion, grounded by the security and the infrastructure provided by Microsoft. Agent platform, this really refers to the ability to create agents. So think of agents as being little specialists for you. They're either specialists in a certain knowledge area or they're a specialist in terms of executing tasks. There is a very robust platform behind Copilot that allows you to build agents for your organization, share those agents with other users, and then govern those agents securely. And then, of course, security and management. This is the message we came out to the market with first. But right now, this is absolutely table stakes. Okay, and nothing has changed since we launched Copilot 2.5 years ago. Two messages here. I mean, we could go on and on, but two messages here that make us stand out. The first one is Copilot will is governed by enterprise data protection. So anything your users are putting into Copilot are not leaving the trust boundary of your tenant. Okay. The second is it will honor existing sensitivity labels on documents, meaning if a user doesn't have access to that document, they will not be able to reason over it within Copilot. And the third is the information that is loaded into Copilot will never be used to train any models, okay? And then of course with security becomes all of the ability to manage, govern, and discover the AI that's being used in your organization. So that's the, what was that, 5-minute, why is Copilot different? We are recognizing specifically and more importantly in the SMB market that, transformation is the goal, but we have to start with small wins. So when you're thinking about how to implement AI in your organization, don't think of it as you need to overhaul your entire operations or you need to do something really, really big and fancy in order for it to have impact. Start small. What we see and what we've seen over the past 2.5 years is that change happens with small wins, especially in this space, and being patient, picking the things that are real pain points for your bottom line, your employee engagement and satisfaction, as well as your efficiency. And those are the great places to start with AI. Okay, so that's the pitch. I think I'm good for time. I've got about 15 minutes. You got a question?
Yes, I do. Every time I use, my fears about this come directly from knowing about it. Every time I use LLMs for any business stuff, I am afraid of how the certain data degradation, what's it called? What's it called? We were just talking about it.
Inference? Inference?
Not just inference. Damn, sorry, I lost the word.
It's okay.
When data gets mapped on a different axis rather than your orthogonal ones, that's what I'm talking about. Because of a lot of stacking of data is happening, I'm always afraid of those ideas.
Like hallucinations?
No, hallucination is something to the side as well, but it's not hallucination. What is it called? Superposition, for example.
Not familiar with the term. Is anyone in the room familiar with the term?
Basically what happens is data gets mapped on orthogonal axes. But when there is too much data, then the machine says, I want to build non-orthogonal axes to map more data. The place you love the most, you always think about, you reference beautiful things to it. That's a superposition of that place onto your emotions.
Yeah.
So same thing happens in the machine. That's what I'm worried about. I just wanted that comment on it.
Yeah, I honestly, bit of a foreign concept to me. I would say, as you're implementing AI in your organization, you need to think about responsible AI principles and making sure you're doing your research on the guardrails that the AI models have in place to help eliminate safety concerns as well as bias. This sounds a little bit like bias, but I hear you. Yep.
Bias of data that infects
Yep.
other stuff.
Yes.
Yes, to a degree.
Yep.
Superposition is way more specific. But
Yep.
yes, to a degree.
It's like adding another dimension that
Yep.
the model needs to map the data to,
Yep.
and it's making it up.
Yep. Yep.
I think that's what he's talking
Yep.
Yes,
Yep.
correct.
Let me jump into this conversation. So I understand what you're talking about, but that is much more deeper inside the actual LLM.
Yeah.
Okay, that we are not talking about that here. If you want, we probably may have like a data analysis this data management conversation this side.
Sure.
Okay, but we are talking here. We are talking about like human
grab my water?
interface layer, and we keeping all the data analysis and the machine.
Like what's our penetration of Copilot? I don't know the stats specifically for small medium business, but overall we have over 3 million users in the Canadian market. Okay, that's across paid and free. Our overall penetration rate right now is around 4.5%. So 4.5% of users have a paid license. Oh yeah.
Every day. So from our perspective as a service provider for small and mid-sized businesses, we getting requests from our clients almost every day. Guys, we need to sit and talk because we want to understand first. As I said, we have several clients already running in full power. We have several clients just starting this journey, analyzing their data and normalizing their data and putting the security patches to start using Microsoft Copilot in their day-to-day operation. Okay? I can tell you my presentation being done with Copilot. So me, myself, I'm currently on the stage, human with AI assistant. Okay? I can tell you very easy example. A couple of weeks ago, we did have some dispute with one of the vendors. We give to Copilot access to our ticketing system. So we print out, give to Copilot all the tickets related to this issue. We give him access to all the email threads related to this issue. We gave access to several Word and PDF documents related to this issue, and asked Copilot to help us create the fact check and definitive letter to send to this vendor. Guess what? We got it in 10 minutes. Okay? But never 100% rely on what the machine gives you. Check. We did the check, everything okay, everything's clean, but we got structured document with the fact list, with the timeline, with several tables, with a position and proposal to the vendor how we can resolve this issue. 5-page document within 10 minutes using information from different sources. Without Copilot, it would took us a couple of days for sure.
So I lose my job.
Those who don't use Copilot, those who don't use AI tools, will lose their job. Those who here in the audience today and learn how to use it properly, how to use it in full power, you will be deciding who is losing job, who's not.
And what about the token usage? Do you have any, like, you know, sure, AI is like tokens. You use tokens as you probably see. Do you, biometrics or tokens? I mean, do you see token usage? Do you as Copilot measure that, or in Microsoft? Or?
Yeah, we don't go down to the token level, but we look at what's called monthly active users. So when I told you that 3 million number, those are 3 million users that are using it at least once intentionally in a 28-day time period. So we track utilization that way. When you have a Copilot license, though, you're not consuming tokens. It's all just a part of your license. So yeah, if you pay for a license, it's unlimited token usage. If you don't have a license, it's a different story. Okay, no problem. Okay, so Vlad, you keep me honest here with timing, okay? I think what I'll do is I'll skip over some of the prompting setup and just leave you with one slide I like to leave everybody with when we talk about prompting and how you use AI. Okay, so this is generic. This is not specifically a Copilot principle. This is a AI prompting principle. And what it really is supposed to give you a frame of reference on how to think about how you're interacting with Copilot. Okay, so a prompt is really just a request for AI. Okay, it could be you're requesting information, it could be you're requesting it to do something. It's basically a request into your assistant. And every single request in some shape or form should have these 4 things in it. Number 1, your goal. So what do you want from Copilot? And be specific. If you want a summary, be more specific. I want a 5-bullet summary. I want a draft email. I want a 10-page PowerPoint presentation. Goal, think about what you want the output to be and be very specific because it has absolutely no idea of what's going on in your brain. Okay? The second is context. Arguably, goal and context are the 2 most important pieces of information that you need to feed into your AI prompt. Okay? We cover a lot of the context when we talk about work IQ. So the fact that it has all of your M365 signals, it knows how you work, who you work with, what your priorities are, a lot of that context is taken care of. But specific to the task that you're, and the goal that you're trying to achieve, what's the background? Who's involved? And what do you want to use this information or task to accomplish? The sources, what information sources do you want? And sometimes even more importantly, what information sources do you want Copilot to not use? Okay, so identifying the sources of the information that you want to ground the reasoning on is important. It's also to set some boundaries on what you want AI to discard or not look at. And lastly, expectations. So this is really just putting more meat on the bone around your goal. Like, do you want plain language? Do you want the result to you in a certain format with certain text headings? Do you want it to be in simple terms so that you can explain it or learn from it? So expectations is really just more about providing a little bit more guidance on how Copilot should respond to you. Okay? That is super, super high level. Here's a quick example to show you what that looks like in practice. As things are evolving so quickly, this concept could be extended to a far more sophisticated example. Okay, but this is an example of a very basic prompt that's following the GCSE Goal, Context, Source, Expectations framework. Generate 3 to 5 bullet points to prepare me for a meeting with client X to discuss their Copilot launch. Use best practices guidance from the adoption site, that's our source. Please use simple language so I can get up to speed quickly. Yes?
I always ask it at the end, please ask me enough questions so that you can be 95% confident you're giving me accurate information.
You bet.
If you don't do that, then what you're getting is its best guess.
Yep.
In a lot of ways.
Yep. I love adding confidence levels to it.
You have to.
Yeah. And there's, you know, I have 30 slides that we could go through today, but that was a very good one. Yes?
Can the source be a document?
Absolutely. Yes. So I talked about sources on your tenant. So if you have a license, It can access all the sources that's in your organization's tenant. Or if you have the free version, a source could be an uploaded document into that chat window. So various options. It could also be websites.
I was just going to add to that. I recently did one where the source was like a file path to a folder that contained all the stuff that was referenced. Thank you.
Vlad, it's 10:30. You want me to keep going or cut it off? All right.
We need a break.
We need a break. So I'll be around for a little bit. Happy to talk to you guys. And I think you'll get a copy of these slides at some point. But these are just some things that you can go back and take a peek at. What are the different ways that you can use Copilot? Learning, creating, summarizing, transforming, editing, analyzing, catching up. The possibilities are endless. And again, start small. If you're just starting, start small. Because if you start big, you'll get discouraged. All right. Well, thanks, everyone.
Ashley, thank you very much. Guys, as I said, we are, fortunately, we are technical guys, so marketing a little bit late, but it will follow. Okay, we have a list of attendees, we have a list of all the people who checked in. Give me 2 weeks, I will send you some materials, especially about the project. Okay, and now we have 15-minute break, so you can network, you can speak to the vendors. You can catch Ashley.
Great. Okay, so I'm going to talk about Copilot and a little bit about the deployment, what we're looking for, what you should look for, and how to get most of it. Again, my name is Vladimir. I work for Cloud IT and VI Professional Solutions. My kind of job description is different from CTO. I do everything that has to do technical. If we have an idea, I'm going to go and see if it actually works, and we can deploy it for you, for our clients, for you guys. And if it's possible, we'll make it work. So today I'm going to talk about why Copilot, why it matters for you guys, for small businesses, what it's going to give you. And then we're going to talk about the little bit deployment. So how does it help for Copilot, for small businesses? Most of the time, small businesses are using small lean teams to do their work, right? And you want to make sure that you can get the most potential from every single minute you guys work, right? And if you can take something and that take your day-to-day tasks, your tedious tasks, and give it to somebody else, that not a person, and let them help you with these tasks, and it saves you time that you can apply and spend time with your clients, with your vendors, with your partners, to be able to get more business. You probably will like it. Okay? Again, it saves you and sorry, hold for a second. In the plain words, Copilot, it's your assistant that integrates it with all your Microsoft tools. If it's at Microsoft Teams, Word, Excel, any Microsoft application, it will be there for you, for it to help you. You can ask questions. And I would like you guys to think about Copilot as your personal assistant. I know it's a lot of times people say, oh, you need to hire new personal assistants. You don't need to hire anybody. Take a Copilot, ask them questions, talk to them like another person. It's not a Google search. Talk to it like another person, and you're going to get answers, you're going to get results, and it will save your precious time. What Copilot doesn't do? Copilot doesn't replace employees. Very important. It's not supposed to replace anybody. It's supposed to help them be more productive. It doesn't make final decisions. Anything that's done with AI, it doesn't matter if it's a Copilot, if it's ChatGPT, if it's a Claude, you should check results. You should review. If you write an email with Copilot help, review the email. Make sure it sounds like you're writing an email. Make sure the information is accurate, because sometimes AI tools not to find different sources and different facts. It doesn't change in Copilot word. It doesn't change access permissions. So whatever your permissions to access any data within your organization, it's going to adhere to these rules. So whatever files, SharePoint information you can access, this is what it's going to do. As Ashley mentioned, it's also going to respect data loss prevention sensitivity labels. So if, example, if a file is marked as a sensitive and only higher management in the company can access this sensitive label, then when people put a prompt in Copilot and ask for information, and this file going to match this prompt, is going to check. Do you have permissions? And if the sensitivity labels are correct. If it's If both these answers, questions answered correct, you're going to get the information. If one of them are false, you're not going to see anything. So it's 100%, not 100%, but it's the most secure solution that we know, and we think that is available on the market. And again, you guys remain in control on everything has done within Copilot. Where it helps, as I mentioned already, it can help you with writing email, summarize. If you have anybody using conversations view in Outlook, so if you have a conversation in Outlook and it's like 20 emails long and you just came from vacation, you want to kind of catch up, you can basically just summarize this and it will give you a short paragraph about this conversation, and will cover everything, what said what, and bring you to speed pretty fast. It can help you with sending emails. If it's Excel, you can modify, create different questions, create different reporting directly with Copilot and create it in different sheets or different Excel spreadsheets. Within Teams, we'll have example later on. Within Teams meeting, we have a Copilot, which is basically recording and transcribes every meeting, and then give you Teams notes. I would say, and put a lot of attention. It's not meeting minutes. Meeting minutes, it's when you get the meeting notes, you can copy it, create meeting minutes, and send it to the clients. This is just to give you a more precise review of what happened on the meetings, who said what, and if you ask what would be like next 3 steps that you have to do. This is what it's going to give you, strictly meeting notes. It's not meeting minutes, because a lot of people make this mistake, and what they do is they take this AI notes, copy paste, and send it to everybody. Or they have other tools that using, and these tools record everything, transcribe everything, make the notes, and these tools send everything to other people that you've been in the meeting, and then it actually can cause to a lot of misunderstanding and different things that people think that they agreed to something, but they didn't agree, and things like that. Security and trust is one of the major things that as we discussed. Again, as I mentioned, Microsoft integrated with Microsoft 365. It has enterprise protection, which basically saying a simple thing. None of your data that you put in Copilot or you generate in Copilot will leave your trust boundaries of your tenant unless you take it and you send it to somebody, but it's not going to do it from the Copilot directly or from on its own. It will always adhere to the security principles that you have within your organization, and it will adhere to the DLP, again, data loss prevention principles that you define in your organization. Sorry, Microsoft Copilot, I don't know if you know, Microsoft has different compliance that they have to adhere to. And all the Copilot environment, they adhere to all the same compliances that they have to abstain to. So, example is there's no access to clients' data from Microsoft. There's no it will make sure that there's no additional risk of implementing Copilot within Microsoft. Any questions? Okay. Yes?
Apply as a standard, it's perfect. Yeah, but what exactly it's mean? Because different businesses have different
So any Canadian client on Microsoft Office 365 resides in Canada, in Canadian data centers. And when you implement Copilot, it's going to go stay in the same data center.
Basically the same installation, right?
It's going to stay within the same tenant and look all the information that it has. So if you have a tenant that has to stay in Canada and has been configured from the beginning, Copilot will just continue the same settings, and it will adhere to your settings of your tenant. Again, compliance is not only data residency, it's also who have access, how they have access, and things like that as well. Again, client is the only one that have access to their data, including Copilot. Okay? Yeah? No. I didn't have the time to say. Let me just go really fast. They're cutting me fast, so I'm just going to go fast through the systems. In the deployments, we should, there's three main things that we want to look at. Readiness assessment. There is a tools, and you can always reach us, and we will help you to do the readiness assessments. We run the report, and that basically identifies anything that needed or missing within your environment. Either it's permissions configurations, or it's sensitivity labels that would be recommended for your environment, and then we sit with you and decide which aspects we want to implement, which one we want to review. Always do pilot groups. So if you have we have a couple of clients that they started, and what they did is they have about 90, 100 users. So they start with 10 users group. You start the pilot, you learn, you get experience with that, and then you pass this experience to implement and scale to the rest of the company. And the most important is trainings. But how do you measure the success? You define success measuring track time that you save from basically what you were doing before and what you can do with the Copilot, and see how much you save. And then that will transfer into your ROI and success of your project. The next step is then confirm your readiness, run the pilot, do review and improve your process through the pilot, and then scale and adopt throughout the whole company. Okay, it's me. Thank you very much. I'm going to be here for the rest of the day, so if you have any questions, I know I had to go pretty fast. I don't know why, but here. I'm going to be here, so if you have any questions, please feel free. Thank you very much. Oh, yeah. Oh, you doing? Okay. Oh, sorry. Anthony. Pretty fast. Thanks for that.
All right.
Now you will have that.
How are you guys today? You guys good? Anybody looking forward to this weekend's weather? Because it's going to look pretty bad. I don't know. I've been away for the past 3 weeks, and you guys had beautiful 30 degrees weather, and I finally got home to this beautiful country, and it's like rain, rain, rain.
Welcome to Canada.
Yeah, thank you. It's good to be home, to be honest with you, right? So anybody heard of a company called Dell Technologies before? Raise your hand. All right. Anybody not like Dell Technologies? It's okay. Raise your hand. Okay, good. It's okay. You're allowed to admit it. We are allowed choice in this marketplace. All right. But the beauty about choice is, which one does this today? Here we go. Is if you can name another manufacturer that can provide all of these under one roof with one valued partner like Cloud IT, I would love to have an argument with you. And if you're like my wife, I may lose that argument to you, right? But I can guarantee you that you're going to have a good time, all right? So there's a reason why Dell Technologies is winning in the market today, right? One is we are the only manufacturer that can go from the edge to the core to the cloud, right? But in this day and age with supply chain problems and cost increasing dramatically, right, we are unfortunately one of the rare manufacturers that can still supply. All right, I do not have any supply chain issues right now. I'm able to fulfill almost 90% of all orders in less than 60 days. It's a pretty astonishing feat, right? And if we go back to that wonderful time in 2020, I don't like to verbalize that word, so you won't hear me say what it was or what actually happened. But we actually took a lot of share during that time because 90% of our product also doesn't come from overseas. It's actually made in North America, shipped and warehoused in North America. And right now today with our most valued distributor, TD SYNNEX, which is where Cloud IT buys from, I've got $30 million plus that can deliver to all of you in less than 24 hours. So I'm taking bids right now for that $30 million. Who wants to start the bidding? I'll take $2 million, $2 million. Nobody's got POs. All right, on $10. I said $2 million. I don't know if you were hearing correctly, but all right. You just thought you'd throw one out? Okay, I'll give you the $10, right? And we'll up that to 20. Okay. How many of you guys are curious about AI? I love going after Copilot because this makes a lot of sense, but are you interested or are you curious? I'm curious, what's the difference? So who's interested in AI and who's still on the fence saying this is bullshit, it'll never actually happen? Okay, how many of you guys actually know what an MPU is? You do? What is it?
Numerical processing unit.
Okay, how many people think he's right and how many people think he's wrong? Raise your hand if you think he's right. Only 50%. Okay, he's actually right. Guys, have some faith in your people in the crowd, okay? All right, a GPU is what we all grew up with, and if you're as old as I was, it started with the CPU, right? Being able to run everything and so forth. So GPU is typically where, you had your graphics and all of the processing was happening there. Why we've actually come out with an MPU is essentially because there are going to be applications that no longer want to tie down your CPU. So how many of your PCs are 2 years or older? Many of you guys? It's okay, mine is, and I work for the manufacturer, all right? Can my PC run Copilot today? What do you think? Tell me yes or no. Raise your hand if it's a yes. So who said no? Why do you think it can't run Copilot today? And maybe you were just being shy and you were tired. Why do you think? It should be running, right? It actually can run Copilot in a lot of the applications, but here's what's going to happen, okay? If you don't migrate your PC, you are going to be left behind, okay? Because almost all of these applications will now be required on the MPU to make your PC run more efficiently, no longer heat your lap where you feel like it's on fire, and your battery life is going to dramatically improve. But here's the key difference, is you're going to be able to have agentic AI agents running in the background and give you a competitive advantage over your competitors. So imagine right now I'm presenting and my PC is actually working on my behalf. That's what's happening today. And if you don't believe that, unfortunately, I have to indicate to you that you're a little bit behind because the train has already left the station, okay? There are actual companies that are being disruptive in your business right now and doing analytics on probably you as a competitor and the customers you serve while you're running your business in what we call the traditional model. Now, the traditional model is, don't get me wrong, is extremely profitable. It's favorable, right? You've probably been very successful. But even in our business, and I've got my friends here from Lenovo who I love dearly, I hang out with their leaders all the time, we're looking at each other going, oh my God, we're going to get disrupted ourselves, right? There's going to be another PC server. They kind of do storage. I laugh at them all the time about it. But, you know what I mean, manufacturer that is probably going to come in and disrupt us. And we're a $100 billion organization at Dell growing at 40%. Okay? So neural processing unit is real, right? I mean, why do you want to do things in the cloud versus on-prem? That's an interesting debate. Okay? So we understand and love the cloud, but we actually believe it to be a hybrid world. And here's why. One of the ladies in the room talked about sovereignty, right? She asked, where's my data going to reside in Copilot? That's real, I get it, right? But how are you actually going to secure that data if it sits 100% in the cloud? Think about that. How are you going to secure that data? Do you fully trust everything that's happening? Right? So what we actually want to do is, I'm going to skip ahead to this slide here, I'm going to come back to the accessories, is we actually run a free analytical software on your environment called Live Optics. And our competitors actually download our software, and we can see because of their domain, it's okay, right? And they'll actually run in your environment and try and sell you their stuff. But we actually own this software. It runs for a period of time. 24 hours is good. 1 week is even better, okay? And it'll give us a dashboard of everything that sits in your environment and allow cloud IT to no longer throw a dart. Do you know what that means? Right? So let me give you an example. If you, the end customer, said to a partner like Cloud IT, who we love, and said to them, well, this is what I need and this is what I want, and they're saying, okay, well, let's take a look. What's your growth plan, and how much are you actually going to use, and what applications? And we think we're going to build X to protect you for the future. And you believe them, and you should. This supports their conversation by giving you the data that you require to say, this is why Vlad decided to build it this way and protect you for the future so that in 1-2 years, you're not having to actually rebuild that all again. Now, if you go through exponential growth, that's a totally different problem, right? And completely unexpected. But Live Optics is the best way to actually do that. Okay. Accessories. When you actually, how many people are getting, how much? 2 minutes, that's it? Okay, 2 minutes. How many people are getting tired of PC prices increasing? It's bad, right? And unfortunately, it's only going to get worse. That's the honest truth, okay? We've talked to IDC, we've talked to Intel, AMD. I just came back from Vegas this week in Dell World, and all of the memory and storage manufacturers have said it unfortunately is only going to get worse. So here's what's happening. We actually make a lot of accessories. And when we actually sell you those accessories, we can help you mitigate your rising costs on the laptops if you look at some of our accessories. Now, all of these accessories are manufactured by Dell. Here's the key difference. How do you actually manage those accessories? So let's look at your current environment. You probably have a wireless keyboard and mouse. You probably have a webcam. You probably have a docking station. You probably have a headset. Every single one of those accessories, if you're using different manufacturers, has bloatware. They all want to upgrade the firmware. They all want to give you updates. They all want to give you little trinkets on how to manage that device. We do that through one pane of glass, one software, and it's all managed centrally. That now makes your PC run optimally. So when your employees are saying to you, well, you know, you gave me this wonderful machine and it's now all of a sudden slowing down, yes, that's part due to the software, but it also has to do a lot with the bloatware that gets loaded up. So Dell's mitigated that by saying, look, buy our PCs, we're definitely leading edge, definitely look at our accessories, combine the two into one throat to choke. All right, let me open the floor to questions. What do you guys got? Did you guys like that? Was that boring? Not boring? I still owe you 20 bucks? 40 now? Interest. You're like Bitcoin. You just keep going up. Bitcoin's down? The next the bull rush is coming in October. Get ready. All right. Any last questions? Awesome. Well, I've got the fabulous team here. We've got all of our PCs ready to be displayed. If you have any questions, please let us know, okay? Thank you so much.
Anthony, thank you very much. And now we will hear from the other side of the medal.
Dun, dun, dun.
Good morning. My name is Jose. I'm working on behalf of Lenovo covering these things. Anthony, I don't know if you can see what's on here, but it's a ThinkPad. Okay. So first, I want to thank you all for being here, taking time out of your day to kind of spend some time with us to talk through AI, right? And congratulations to Cloud IT for 20 years, right? And hopefully maybe a little bit more, right? So what are we going to talk about today, right? So AI, what is it? You've heard Copilot, you've heard agentic AI, you've heard LLMs, you've heard different terms. What other things can AI do for you? What is AI doing for you today, right? So what are the building blocks to do that? AI solves problems. What are you trying to fix? That's what the digital transformation piece is right there. And how do you fix it with AI, okay? And then there's a couple questions on considerations, where the data is stored, security. We'll go through some of those considerations as well. And what Lenovo's plan is for the future for AI, right? Burning question, whenever I have a question about AI, what sucks? There's a problem that you're trying to solve, right? There's a bottleneck in your operation, there's something that you're trying to figure out. All right, how can you use the tools that you have currently in place to solve that problem, right? With a more professional way, like what is it that's laborious for you to do, what has all of these things, right? So putting AI into context, let's define AI, right? So it's a tool. We can quantify it in 4 ways, right? So how it helps you generate revenue, how it reduces your expenses, how it improves your productivity, and how it mitigates and allows that exposure, okay? AI is all about data. You have all the data that you have in your environment now to create the outcomes that you need. To solve all the problems that you have most, if not all of that data. And AI can aggregate that and use that in an easy, digestible way to be able to solve that problem, right? So the building blocks we talked about today. We heard a little bit earlier from Ashley and Vladimir, the agents, the agentic AI from Copilot, right? Generative AI from Copilot, ChatGPT, et cetera. And then machine learning. So even as simple as scrolling through your Instagram feed, that's AI, right? At its core. So a full AI solution, how it works today, is a combination of a couple of these put together and how it interacts with this stuff. So there's always a problem we're trying to fix. There's questions we have to ask to kind of figure out what tools work best and how it'll work for you and not like for you. So what needs to be better? What is the problem? Identifying that at its core. Where your data is, what data is you're using, and who needs to use that data. How simple does it have to be? How technical does it have to be for someone to be able to read and use that data? And what do they do with it, right? What are the benefits of solving that problem? And how can we reallocate resources to be able to do that in an efficient way? How many of you drove through a bunch of these today? I drove through at least 3, right? This is a frustrating problem for everybody that's on the road, okay? Now you're thinking, how are we going to use AI to fix this problem? Like, how is AI going to fix potholes, right? By asking questions, like, what are you trying to fix? At the core of the problem, the potholes are the tangible problem that you see, but how it gets fixed, where they are, like figuring out where those pieces are, that's the actual problem. Getting people to drive out there, figure out where they are, getting crews out there to go fix it, right? Surveying costs a problem, data from everywhere is a problem. Where all the data is stored, written down in certain Excel sheets, random places somewhere else, right? Who uses that data? Different teams and different groups of people all at the same time. Like, how do you get that, right? And how is it used? You know, how it gets fixed, where it gets fixed, et cetera, right? But what do we want? What is the need that you're trying to solve? You want to be able to track these, figure out where they are, have an efficient way to fill them without disrupting traffic too much, right? And generate the ability to prioritize patterns for this. So the areas where they would more likely to occur because there's more traffic in that area, right? And the need that we have is we need to be able to quantify what it is, right? So how do you fix it, right? The best ways to fix something with AI is to add it to stuff you already have, right? So there are trucks, there are public vehicles being used every day. What if you stick a couple cameras on them? They drive the regular route, it picks up raw video data, and use some of the building blocks to do that. So this building block is computer vision. So it aggregates raw video data and kicks it to the edge, and then back to the server to process it with a model that you have. You quantify, you know, the depth, severity of the pothole, where exactly it is in the city, how disruptive it is to traffic, blah, 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 whatever factors you want to be able to give to your teams to use. Different types, being able to exactly pinpoint where they are. And you can do this with not one truck, you can do it with trash trucks, for example, or salt trucks that drive these routes every day. So you're not wasting any new manpower, any new, like you're not hiring a third party to do this, you're using tools that you already have, right? It goes to the edge, and it goes to the model through the server, and it pings it back to you cellular. All with Lenovo product, right? Minus the cameras. So it'll take all this data and update the geographic information system for the municipality. So I share the example because if we can do it at this scale for a full city, a full municipality, what can we do for you today? How can we solve your problems today, right? And the considerations we talked about earlier, right? So there's two on here that stand out that I like to talk about all the time. Privacy and security, right? These are the questions that need to be asked here, right? How sensitive is the data? So in this case, it would be, you know, people's houses or people's cars or whatever, right? How is the access managed? Where is it stored after that video, that raw video was captured? And can it be misused? That one is a pretty important question. And then the transparency, right? The messaging for the AIs, for the people that are actually going to be using it and benefiting from it, they have to know what that is, right? So it's up to us, everyone in the room involved in the solution, to kind of figure out if it's worth it. Like, is it worth fixing all the potholes on your street to get like, you know, maybe a glimpse of you outside of your house, getting the newspaper, right? Those are the questions we have to ask. I talked about hardware earlier, but Lenovo is best in class for engineering. I know friends from Dell, but Lenovo is here, right? We have 55% of Canadian market share for notebooks, right? I want to talk about performance a little bit. We are the world's #1 supercomputing vendor. Our supercomputer in Spain is the most used on the planet. And we have platforms with OEMs and ISVs, and this culminates in the AI Innovators Program, where we pull in over 150 individual ISVs that work in two centers in the US, or one in the US and one in Europe, to be able to tailor custom AI solutions, actionable AI solutions that you can deploy, right? Marrying it with our stuff, right? Everyone has stuff. Dell has great stuff, Lenovo has great stuff, but how do you use that stuff, right? And infrastructure, the portfolio, I don't have the entire sheet of servers that Anthony showed, but we are consistently ranked as the most reliable x86 platform, right? And the single pane of glass management is there as well. And usually my specialty is edge and endpoint, right? All of our endpoint units, they might not be rugged, but they go through mil-spec testing. Something like extreme heat conditions, extreme cold conditions, something even as simple or granular as dust. Different dusts from different warehouses brought in from different types of the world to see how it interacts with the software inside. And that's for everything. All of our business grade units go through that mil-spec testing. So, we add stuff like a dust filter to dust house if you're in a warehouse or if you're in a high dust environment or whatever, right? Anything that you can kind of think of, we've even, there was a test I saw when I was at Lenovo a couple years ago where they had a machine pressing the button over and over and over on the enter key to try and figure out how many times that presses before it breaks. And they do that for everything, standardized through all of the business units there, right? So what is the big overarching picture, right? AI at its core is about data. How you use your data, where your data is put, and who uses it every day, okay? Lenovo has the people, the products, and the partnerships with ISVs and OEMs to be able to have you have custom, scalable solutions that you can use today, right? All that stuff for you to do is kind of try it out. So in the AI ecosystem here's the stack. Cloud IT is a good partner to do this as well. Workshops, joint collateral, development labs, and then direct contact through Vlad with our AI teams, right? So this QR code has all of this stuff. Who we're currently working with, how you get your hands on something, and if you have a problem, how to conceptualize it and asking those questions to be able to build tools to fix that, right? Yeah, and that was all I had. Do we have any questions? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. And now the boring. But as I said, bad actors learning AI much faster than we do. So Fortinet guys will tell us how we can prevent their intrusions to our network, how we can protect our internal systems, and what is zero trust network. I will tell you one simple story. I will tell you one simple story. According to my name, according to my accent, you realize I'm from Soviet Union. So the major party in the Soviet Union that been run the country was KGB. Forget about the Communist Party. So the major rule applied to the country, to everything, every movement in the country. Everything is prohibited unless it's allowed. In the Western world, we live in totally different, in absolutely opposite reality. We've been living in opposite reality. Everything allowed unless it's prohibited. For the last 5 years, we see it's changing. So zero trust, it's a KGB rule.
I'm going to use that. I'm going to steal that Vlad to explain zero trust from now on. We'll see how that goes. Thank you, folks, for joining us today, and thank you to Vlad and the Cloud IT team for setting up this session. My name is Nabil. I'm a channel pre-sales engineer at Fortinet. I have my colleague Sam there, who's the channel account manager. And today we're going to talk about fortifying your cybersecurity through AI. Now, I think most of the folks in the room know who Fortinet is. If not, there's a great overview of who we are and what we do. In a nutshell, I've been asked this question a few times already today. What do we do from a security perspective? And the answer is everything. Whether it's endpoint, email, firewalls, whatever you're looking for, we can help you. The idea there is that when the company was built out or started out over 25 years ago, the founders of the organization, Ken and Michael Z, what they looked at was where the industry was, and they tried to figure out where it was going to go, like how it was going to change. And what they did there is they started building a fabric approach. So not only did they look at one portion of the market, for example, network security and firewalls, they looked at how the market's going to evolve and how to build a platform that works seamlessly together. And the results kind of speak for themselves, right? So one of the largest companies by both market share and number of employees, a tremendous amount of success in terms of market share, over 70% of the Canadian firewall market, 55% of the global market, and a ton of innovation for the last quarter century. Essentially, why this is important actually is when you sell cybersecurity, right, what are you actually providing to your customers? You're basically saying trust. That's what it all comes down to, right? You're trusting us to protect your environment, to protect your data, and that's super important because it's challenging to build a business. You have to come up with a product or service, you have to win market share, you have to fight off your competition. Businesses are dynamic, things constantly change. So you want to ensure that you have the right vendor protecting your organization, and I'm going to walk you through how we've stayed ahead of innovation and why that's Fortinet. So, as I mentioned before, from a platform approach, we started traditionally or initially with secure networking. So our firewalls, our access points, and switches. Everybody sort of knows that, or at least everybody in the industry sort of knows that. Now, and more recently, we've had a tremendous amount of success with our unified SASE platform. So we took all of the features in our firewall, like our intrusion prevention system, our DLP, which is data loss prevention, our AV, antivirus engine, and we built that into one cloud-delivered solution while combining it with secure SD-WAN. So you combine the intelligent routing and traffic steering of secure SD-WAN with the security features delivered through one cloud-managed platform. Basically, the idea is to simplify life for the IT, security, and network teams. And today, what I'm excited to chat with you guys about is AI and SecOps. AI is built into and embedded through our platform, but it's particularly prevalent and very successful within the security operations platform. So, as I mentioned, AI is a lot of different organizations from a cybersecurity perspective are talking about AI and how it works for their particular products and services. What you'll notice here is that AI is built into almost all of our products, or the majority of our products. And what that does is that helps you become more efficient and effective in both your ability to analyze threats as they become more active or as they're newer threats, as well as react more quickly. And the most important thing is here is shared threat intelligence. So our threat intelligence platform is called FortiGuard Labs. It's world-class. We've got globally sensors all over the world. But for example, if our FortiGate firewalls picks up some information, is it sharing it with FortiMail, which is our email security system? And what's the difference between a combined platform approach versus multiple point products? Now, if you want multiple different vendors speaking to each other, it's going to take more time and effort to make that system cohesive, versus our system is already built in to chat with each other, share threat intel, and work together to isolate and manage the threat. Think about it like Apple, right? You got your AirPods, iPhone, Mac, everything works seamlessly together through one console. Same sort of idea, but applied to the cybersecurity world. So as I mentioned, our FortiGuard Labs, that's sort of like the brain behind the devices. What makes the decisions, what drives what we actually do. So we analyze trillions of events on a regular basis. We've got one of the broadest portfolios in the market, and then what makes us different from some of our competitors is that the breadth and scale of our data collection, right? What is AI at its source? It's the ability to first collect and then analyze that data and sort it in a way that's meaningful and useful on a practical level to customers. So when you look at our threat intelligence and the research that we put out, the innovation that we've come up with, as well as the fact that we're a global organization that's collecting data from all over the world, that allows us to move more quickly and react more quickly to emerging threats like zero-day threats. And then, as I was talking about before, the cohesiveness of the platform is very beneficial, right? So at the firewall level, you might be blocking a file. For web security, you might be blocking a malicious IP or URL. For endpoint security, you might be quarantining the device. But all of this works together to protect the organization. And then lastly, you've got our automation and reporting platforms, which are FortiAnalyzer, FortiSOAR, and FortiSIM, to make sure that everything is logged. So if there's an advanced attacker or they happen to do something malicious and it isn't caught initially, you need the investigative tools to go and figure out what actually happened to make sure there isn't a backdoor so that they're not going to come back and do something worse. the longer they are in your systems, the more of a chance that something malicious happens. So today I'm going to talk about a few different facets of our AI solution, or the AI that's embedded into our solutions. We've got AI Protect, AI Assist, and AI Secure. So I'll walk you through sort of a few use cases. So AI Protect, again, it's about being able to move efficiently. Now, when we think about AI, it's a great magnifier. Now, that can be used for nefarious purposes, or it can be used for good purposes. So for example, in this room here, we've got representation from, I would say, 40, 50 different companies. What typically happens after a session or a conference is people will go on LinkedIn and they'll post, hey, I attended this session, learned a lot of great things about AI. Now, what the malicious actors or hackers can do is they can take this information using scripts, look through LinkedIn, see everybody that's posted, figure out what the email format is for a particular person, right? Because LinkedIn will show your name. Most email formats are first name, last name, at whatever.com, or maybe it's first initial, last name. There's some standard formats. Now, how this accelerates or makes it easier to do phishing at a mass scale is that they take that and they, instead of trying to target one person, they're now targeting everybody at each organization for everybody that posted. There's multiple different ways to figure out what the email domain might be. It could be as simple as looking at somebody from that same organization that's in communications and they've shared the format. It could be buying the information on the darknet. There's multiple ways to do the reconnaissance or discovery in the initial phases of the attack. But what happens then is now they're one person with one tool is able to target hundreds of people instead of doing it manually, and that's a huge threat. The unfortunate reality of this industry is that the bad guys need to be right once, whereas the good guys need to be right all the time. So what happens? Somebody gets an email, and it's very curated, very customized. Hey, Alan, ran into this conference. We had a great conversation. You know, I'm a new student. I'm looking to join the industry. Maybe, can you take a look at my resume and give me, and would you be happy to chat, set up a coffee chat, something like that. Seems completely innocent. Maybe a lot of people will respond. A lot of people will click on it. Now, what happens is that in the resume, as an example, or any PDF file, or pretty much any type of file, there could be hidden scripts. So when they click open, it launches an attack. It launches something that's not being picked up, and that could be malware, that could be ransomware. Now, why you need the AI is because when you're looking at traditional viruses or malware, such as ransomware, you're looking for signature-based matching. So it looks at our database or whichever vendor you're using, and it says, we know this file is bad. We know what's happening here. Now, when you don't know what's happening, what you have to do is understand what the behavior is, and that's what AI does, because it has a baseline of what's happening in your environment on a regular basis. Now, it looks like you're opening up a PDF, completely innocent. Nobody would think anything of it, but that script is running a malicious action in the background. And if it starts, for example, mass encrypting files, that's an indicator of compromise. That's an indicator that it could be a ransomware attack. Now, what you need the AI system to do is to flag that for you and also tell you, hey, isolate this device, figure out where this is coming from, isolate all the other devices that may have clicked and opened on this email, figure out where it's communicating from, like what IP address, and kill that connection. If you're not able to do this quickly, then the results could be catastrophic, right? Think about an organization that's 500 employees. If they're down for a day, how much does that cost them? If they're publicly traded and this news gets out, how does that impact the stock price? If you've spent a decade building trust with your customers and now all of a sudden you're on the news because you've been breached and sensitive data has been leaked, all of that trust or a lot of it disappears instantly. So that's what we want to protect, and that's why it's important to get the right vendor and the right strategy. Now, I'm going to talk about secure AI. This is actually talking about the platforms themselves. So that was an interesting stat that was shared earlier today by Ashley. About 80% of folks are apparently using non-approved AI solutions within their working hours or work day. So for a few different levels. The first thing is to adhere to the rules that have been set out by the IT and security teams to say which AI systems are allowed. If not, you're going to block them. Just like we had, many years ago, Shadow IT, now we have Shadow AI. Let's make sure that we've reviewed, the IT team and security team has reviewed the different options, Microsoft, Cloud, whoever they look, ChatGPT, whatever they're looking for, to see what's their data retention policies, are they using our information to train data, where is this data stored for certain customers that don't want the information leaving Canada. Let's look at this and first figure out what that is and block the ones that are not allowed. Then AI is going to be working with the different tools within your environment. Let's say Microsoft Excel, for example. You have to give it permission to say, work with these tools that's outside of the AI system itself or not. And then lastly, we're looking at actions. So for example, if I say to Copilot or ChatGPT, hey, can you take a look at this Excel file and build me a report on all the different customers that we have at Fortinet and who's bought firewalls and email security but hasn't bought endpoint, because that's a great way to target and figure out where we might be having those conversations. But if I try to upload it with the customer's information, anything personally identifiable, such as their name, their email address, it'll automatically get blocked before it goes to the AI tool. The reason for that is obviously you don't want to put that information into any third-party solutions. There's compliance issues, there's potential fines, there's loss of trust, essentially a whole bunch of negative complications. So we protect it at 3 different levels to make sure that you can utilize AI solutions without compromising security. It seems sometimes people think there's a decision or a hard choice to be made between how do we become more efficient versus how do we stay secure. You don't have to compromise, we can help you do both. And then lastly, for the AI Assist. Now what this does is AI as a whole, is designed to make people more productive or allow people to become more productive. And this is particularly important in the cybersecurity space where there is millions of unfilled jobs where the employer can't find the person with the right skill set and the experience to actually do the job well. And this is also particularly difficult in the Canadian market because a large part of our market is the SMB market where I speak to customers and partners on a daily basis, and you've got the IT team running security, or you've got the network team running security, or you've got a junior security analyst who's taking on too much. Now, the lives of IT people are difficult. They are tasked with everything from day-to-day operations, procurement conversations, determining the right strategy, onboarding and offboarding employees, and everything that comes with that. As simple things as like, hey, the Wi-Fi is not working in the office, or I've forgotten my password. The point I'm trying to make is that they are a lot of times overwhelmed. So you want to have the right tools to help them identify and remediate threats as they happen. This is very important, and it's easily done through our AI systems, and it addresses that problem in the market. Now, as I mentioned, the broadest security platform in the industry. Why this is important is basic rule: if you can't see it, if you don't have visibility into it, you can't protect it. We have all these different technologies: endpoint, network detection, email security, that's looking for threats coming from those different attack vectors, and that gives you comprehensive visibility into what's happening in your environment, which allows you to then protect it. And then lastly, as I mentioned before, it's very important to log everything that happens. So if something is missed, it's a new type of threat, it's a sophisticated attacker, there was a mistake made or whatever it is, for some reason they were able to do something nefarious, you've got our SIM tool which will log everything for analysis later on. Yes. Oh, 5 minutes. I thought that was a question. And we've got our SOAR platform for automated systems. So just same as how you use ChatGPT, this is an example of how to quickly identify the most common types of malware, and then that starts your investigative piece on what to do. So agentic AI was already covered. Essentially, it makes autonomous decisions on its own. It's able to adapt and understand what's happening, and we're going to demonstrate how this works.
Can you help me to fully investigate this incident?
Sure, let me start the investigation.
Incident summary. The slowness was due to a Monero Miner C2 connection. Attacker used a brute force login to access the server and spread to other endpoints. Recommendations: quarantine infected systems. 2. Block malicious traffic. 3. Enforce multiple factor authentication. 4. Patch the vulnerable systems.
So I'm going to walk through exactly what happened there. First, it's trying to figure out what's happening. So that first piece of information by itself doesn't really tell you much. It just says the CPU is overloaded, it's running. There could be a variety of different reasons why that's happening. Then it's looking at what's actually going a little bit deeper, analyzing the outputs. So it's connected to a suspicious IP. Now that's a second red flag. Our FortiTip is our threat intelligence platform, so it's looking that up to see if it's a known malicious IP. The next step is look at where it's connecting to. So now we know this is a malicious IP, it's running a malicious process, multiple red flags going off, something is definitely wrong. And then you want to limit or contain the damage. So FortiAnalyzer, which is one of our logging tools, to discover other infected endpoints. So if it's only hit one endpoint and one device, let's keep it at that, because the longer they're in there, the more chances that it's going to spread throughout your network. So as I was mentioning, it's calling out to 2 other IPs. Why they're doing that is because if you shut down that first connection, the attack continues through these other 2 ones. So how did this actually attack? Brute force attack is when somebody knows your username and then, or they don't have to know that, they can guess that as well, but they're trying to guess your password, right? They'll use AI to walk through many different combinations, and let's say they are able to get into your systems. So now lastly, what's the recommendation? The recommendation there is to obviously kill a connection to the malicious IP, isolate the actual device, and then enforce MFA. Now, how long would this have taken you if, depending on the people that are working in your IT and security teams and their skill level? Would you have been able to figure out all of these pieces? Would you have been able to figure out what was happening, the fact that there was connecting to multiple suspicious IPs, the fact that there was threat of multiple devices being infected, and then what the exact attack was to be able to then thoroughly investigate and remediate the problem, and then come up with the action plan? Now, it's all going to depend on what you've invested in from a technology and a human perspective. So not every organization is going to have the right people to be able to address these types of attacks. So we want you to understand that we can help those organizations through the utilization of the AI that's built into our system. So ultimately, what's the goal? Improve the security posture, reduce the number of cybersecurity incidents, also reduce the severity of incidents because you're able to catch these things as they're happening, faster incident resolution time. The longer the business is down and the more people that are affected, the more this ultimately costs. And then reduce the amount of time that they're in there, right? The goal is sometimes it will take 21 days, depending on what report you're looking at. Some of them say over 100 days to even discover that a breach has occurred, and then quickly remediate and respond. And that's it. Thank you for joining us. Thank you. Only for you. I'll customize it for Anthony.
Okay. Finally, we're getting a laptop that works. Thank you. Just saying.
There's a lot of both of you because we're using equipment from both of you. We need to demonstrate to our clients the pros and cons. The pros and cons. Okay, we've been talking about the hybrid meetings that we start to realize become essential during the pandemic time. And the equipment that we use seems completely different. Today we have AI built in, you see, hello. AI built into the camera, AI built into the microphone, AI built into the room automation stuff. That's the hardware portion. And there is another portion that was mentioned in the beginning, when you're able to create business minutes in minutes. So Joshua will be talking about how all this work, collaborate.
Well, I'm going to try and give it my best. You guys can hear me well? Should I ask that question one more time? You guys can hear me well? Very good, very good. So I'm sure you guys have been listening a lot to the presenters before, talking about before the pandemic, during the pandemic, the AI race that's going on, the craziness that's coming to us that we don't know yet. We know that this is amazing disruptive technology that's actually going to be changing the entire global landscape. How we interact with it, how we engage in it, is going to sort of predetermine what the next phase is going to be. So we talked about security system, they talk about different types of hardware, they talk about hackers, they talk about all of these other things that AI is also doing. Now, one of the things that we didn't talk about is that AI is built into everything that we do. All of you guys are now meeting experts, right? You guys, you have your laptop, you have your cameras, you're transcribing meetings and stuff like that, right? So how does that work? What happens, what's the role that AI is really playing in there? How does AI change the input, the output, and the efficiency of how you do your work? So, as Vladimir and Vlad have talked, I'm from the VI professional side of the business, and Vlad, so we work in this together, Cloud IT. I'm just going to take you guys through how the conference room and how AI fits into that. So, before the pandemic, everyone had, like, I'm going to call it like a little Logitech camera on their laptop, on their desktop, or most people didn't have any cameras at all. Those sort of meetings were happening in a little huddle room. Everyone was making notes, right? And then sending that out to people. People didn't understand. Sometimes it's chicken scratch writing. People don't understand it. The paradigm has shifted. AI is actually taking that over. So hybrid work is a permanent fixture in whatever we're going to be doing going forward. I don't ever see the future of everyone back at the office. I know that's a wish. I don't see it happening. But because people are working remotely or in different places, in their car, in the coffee shop, with everyone else, the meeting capture is critical in this AI race, right? Who said what, right? It's making a lot of people accountable. Now, when you go to a meeting and you're on a Zoom call or you're on a Teams call, you have to be careful what you say because it's being recorded, right? And now people are using that as tools. So meetings now span rooms, homes, devices, every day distributed, right? It's distributed by default. Most executives' meetings include at least one remote participant. This is fact, right? Recordings are happening everywhere, right? You don't need IT to set it up anymore, right? Consistency in terms of how meeting rooms are set up, how your meeting is set up, is really what's going to give you the efficiency when you move forward, right? The meeting rooms is now a system of record, like I was saying to you before. So it's important how you capture that information. All structures, the conversation, turning every meeting into a searchable and accountable, right, business intelligence. One, the conversation, who said what in the room, it captures it, it can transcribe it like the other guys were talking about before. It's intelligence, right? Owners, outcomes, and the action drafts, follow-ups. It's easy, it's efficient. Bad boardrooms create bad AI. The AI, it's pretty good in terms of kind of deciphering what people are saying, depending on the language you're talking. But if the acoustics in the room, it's bad, the AI can interpret that and give you bad information. It's not the correct thing. So, like a couple of the vendors speaking before, talking about hallucination, right? It thinks it gets something, it writes you something, you don't really overlook it, you get bad data, right? So the way the room is set up, the way the acoustics in the room, it's very important if AI is going to do good translation and transcription for you, right? So a good thing here, and AI does not fix poor meetings, right? It amplifies structured collaboration and exposes operational weakness. So acoustics is a critical thing like that. Before and during, after the meeting. Before the meeting, AI is helping you draft an agenda, very nice. It pre-reads your summaries, it suggests participants. During the meeting, it's doing live transcriptions. And I wish you had more time today. Would have been really good to do a live transcription where it's doing it in different languages, depending on who's on the other side. It's making some decision captures and the speaker attribution. After that, the intelligence recap, action items, and the follow-up drafts, right? I'm going to try to go a little bit faster. Standardization basically is the message here. If you are in a corporate environment, you have multiple meeting rooms, 2-3 meeting rooms, try and get the same technology across those meeting rooms. Why? Differentiation of equipment creates more IT support things. You create more frustration when someone's going to a meeting in a different room and have to do something different. So standardization is actually key, right? So the types of rooms, we can just break it down into 3 categories. You have like a little small huddle room, 2, 3, 4 people, a medium-sized room, 4, 6, and medium, 6 or 10, and large is really bigger, right? Like this one. Audio quality is everything. Like I mentioned before, all transcriptions accuracy degrades exponentially when poor acoustics, right? And bad audio gives you bad transcripts, right? Good audio, high fidelity transcripts, accurate summaries, clean action items all the time. Now, I'm going to pause a little bit and just point you guys over to this board over here. This is an example that we didn't have before. So, for example, this is a small meeting room, and people are speaking. See, you can see me here now. I'm speaking, right? It actually scans the room. If you're in that room, like somebody's talking, but actually single out. It's called framing, right? You didn't have those sort of technologies 2-3 years ago. This is a big thing that everyone is using, right? What can you actually ask Copilot? You can ask Dreaming, what did I miss in the last 5 minutes, right? Summarize the options, discuss what decisions were made, who owns the follow-up, draft a follow-up email. These are capabilities that you didn't have before, right? AI brings that to your forefront. Meeting shift from time to outcome, right? The physical room still matters. Avoid glass walls and echoes. Glass walls, if you have meeting rooms, they create a lot of echo because the sound bounces off them. You're in the room, you don't hear it, but your recording is going to actually amplify that. Some rooms have a lot of HVAC, vents, fans running. Those also affect your audio quality. Or if your system is connected to a Wi-Fi that the quality is not good, it also affects your audio quality output. Inconsistent room setups like we mentioned before. So invest in good acoustic treatment, eye-level cameras, wide Ethernet, and control lighting. Keep it boring in a good way, all right? Room types, like we mentioned before, small, huddle, medium, device updates, monitoring, support, user training, 10-minute quick start actually saves you a whole lot of headaches. AI service quality, not surveillance, right? So this is under the governance side of AI. AI is recording everything, right? So most of you guys, you have an organization, you have HR, or maybe you have something that you're doing that is legal. Not every sort of meeting you need to record. And there's an example here, right? You need consent, right? Especially if you fall into any one of these compliance areas where maybe you're a hospital, you're a dentist, anything that you're using client personal identifiable information, right? So because you need to have consent, you need to know the retention level you're going to have that recording for because it's legal, access boundaries, vendor data handling, and PPD alignment, right? 6 questions to answer first. The governance must mean this. Who may record that meeting? Where's that data of that meeting going to? How long is that content being retained, right? how are external participants being handled in that, which meetings may be transcribed, who may access the summaries, which meetings are excluded entirely, right? Some examples of that is going to be you're doing an HR investigation, right? Legal strategy, right? Board in camera, if you have a board, and sensitive healthcare information. You need to kind of figure out whose that data is going to be going to and distribute it towards. What can go wrong? Every failure mode is a process problem that AI exposes, right? Poor transcription, bad acoustics, weak recaps, multiple overlapping speakers, failed room joins, weak network, right? Low adoption, right? So when you guys are starting to plan your meeting rooms, just start very small. Something small, make sure it's working, and then after you're comfortable with it, then you start to scale out, right? Right, so no vanity metrics here. If these 5 numbers move in the right direction, like they're saying here, 95% people join that meeting and they don't have any issues. That's a good metrics. Less than 2 minutes meeting average delay, that is great. If the transcript quality is high, that's great. Support tickets, no support tickets, that's great. User satisfaction's up, right? That's what we're aiming for. So 5 takeaway from this here, AI value depends on consistent, the audio quality like we've been talking all the time, the type of room you have it set up in, and governance, right? The PBX AI delivers fast, but we'll talk about that as we go down a little bit here. Now, what I would like to know, is there any questions?
Ask you about the minutes. Can you adapt this minutes to certain business? It could be like, like for example, provide a template and you can create the minutes based on this template.
100%. We'll be having another AI summit where we actually go into the prompting, summarizing of meetings, exactly what you're asking there. So yes, you can. So like one of the slides we were talking about how you prepare for a meeting, how you capture that meeting. And within that Copilot, you can create a prompt that will act and deliver exactly what you're asking for the outcome.
So basically after the meeting, I will have the final product. Forward it to the board of directors right away.
Immediately.
Or we can set it up this way. They will
Yeah, but
email automatically.
so I'm using the word automatically as saying yes as a jump. However, like previous colleagues spoke about this morning, a human in the middle is always important, right? AI can give you hallucination, right? It can interpret something wrong. Make sure you go over it. But yes, the way we do our meetings, all our sales meetings, we have a way that we join a meeting, it captures everything. And we have a specific prompt already made as one of those things, and it actually pulls all that information out, fills out a predefined form, right? Generates something to go to our CRM, boom, and then email to go back out to the client, right? We actually delay it because we don't want the client to figure out, the meeting was just finished and we got an email with 20 pages, right? How did that happen, right? So no, yes, it's possible to do that. Okay, that was only one question. One more.
Do you see a future where room compute becomes a differentiator for Copilot experiences, or will all certified teams from devices remain effectively equal?
I think because AI is leveling the playing field, it doesn't really matter if it's Teams, Zoom. I think they're all going to catch up. Some's going to be a little bit before, some's going to then catch up. But I think as this technology sort of evolves, I think it's going to become baseline. I see a future that the hardware the supplier is going to become agnostic, right? And the software is going to be the software, the interaction with it is going to be the service. That's kind of like how I see it going, because if you think right now, we're talking about AI, 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, this meeting was never going to be possible. The tools, the technology that has been since then to now, it's actually a plethora, right? It's actually changing so fast, you can't keep up, right? So, I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think the direction is obviously like you need something that's more of a co-pilot ready, in-room compute unit.
Yes.
To run that, right?
Yes. Yes, and I can see that changing over time too, right? I would say, what is the plateau? I don't think there's a plateau. I think once this plateau it's the best thing, then it's just like the lady from Microsoft this morning. She was talking about Copilot. It was OpenAI, it was ChatGPT, Perplexity. Now it's Claude, it's Anthropic. It's changing, it's evolving, right? And who knows, here's the plateau? No. I think, we're going to Mars with Elon Musk or something, maybe. All right. Any more questions, anybody? Great.
When you prompt to AI, should you be polite to AI?
That's a very good question. Did you guys hear that question? The question was, when you're prompting, should you be polite? And I would say yes, and I'll tell you why I say that. No, right now AI is looking to handshake with you. It's talking to you, right? But you don't know down the road it's going to remember you, right? Because I see people get frustrated asking AI things, and it just gracefully, oh, no problem, and it goes and do it again. I had an experience, and I probably still have it on my phone. I was asking it to write some code for me on the weekend, but the output it was giving me, I didn't understand it. So I was asking it in different ways to get the output I was looking for. And then somewhere it says, hey, let's be real. I've given you this answer, this answer, this answer. Make up your mind, choose one. It was around 2 o'clock in the morning. My wife was sleeping upstairs. I couldn't believe it. I ran upstairs. Hey, read this. So yes, I would say be polite, right? You never know what the future holds, right? Good question. Well, yeah, but right now, yes. Yes. This.
We have like cameras and leave, right? To manage this camera.
No, this is just one camera.
What you see
Here?
From cameras that
This is one camera. That's correct. Just one.
So this particular device has 2 cameras.
2 cameras.
Yes, and it's seeing the whole room from where Earl was standing all the way to here. So it has a very wide average, and it will break up to 4 people speakers. So it will take your first speaker that's speaking right now and the last 3 people that spoke, and then you have in the bottom you have a full view
of the room.
So this is the software control, equipment control.
This is software AI control.
AI control.
So it's all automatically controlled.
Yes.
Automatically, yes.
Yeah, if I want to have something like this, I just need to get the equipment for that to cameras.
Yeah, we have to.
And the software.
You can. The software it's Microsoft Teams.
Software is already installed in that device.
Yes.
That's correct.
So this particular device is from Yali. Lenovo has a similar device, and they integrate with Teams, Zoom, and this is kind of major 2 companies, and it already knows how to use. And Yali has something called IntelliView, which is doing that. It's already device. You're looking for something like that? And
This looks like it's very limited, and this software and the equipment control is just.
So it depends on the size of the room. This equipment are not designed for this size of the room. This equipment is designed for mid-sized rooms of between
Smaller?
7 to 15 people,
Okay.
right? It usually sits on the wall, under the smartboard, or under the TV, and then.
So it can always stay there, you don't need to move.
You don't need to move. No, you don't need to move that, and it will cover the full room. Yes.
So when the meeting starts, just open, and then you have
So
Boom. Yes.
the way you do is you just start the meeting. It's you.
We can end it and show that to you. Okay.
So here, this is the view. This is Teams room, and we have a meeting. You just click on then join, and the board will join the meeting by itself.
Hit it again. Hit it again, so she can see.
It will join the meeting. You don't need any computers or anything. It's joined automatically, and it automatically will go into the view.
So you just need to have the Wi-Fi connected with the device.
You need the network connected.
Network connect, yeah.
And the screen and that.
That's correct, yeah. That's it.
Can I have an understanding of how the price range of this type of device?
Excuse me, price range?
Yeah.
I think the best thing would be you tell us what the size of the room, because every room is different. You tell us your measurements, what you're looking for, and we can give you a solution, and we can tell you how much the price, because the price can be, it's very large price range.
Something like this, it's
Vlad, you know how much this was cost?
We will take this conversation aside because, first of all, we need to declare the break. Okay? I see people already half sleeping. So let's do the break and we will take this conversation aside, okay?
And if you have a question about boardrooms, please feel free to come and
we will have 15 minutes break.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Merci beaucoup. Yeah, merci beaucoup, monsieur.
Vlad. Come on.
Okay. We are continuing our program, and today we have a special guest. We have Member of Parliament for Thornhill, Melissa Laszlo. And thank you, Melissa, for coming. And Melissa will address, give a couple of words.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. Thanks so much. A few notes, but first off, it's absolutely great to be here. Thank you, Vlad, for the invitation. Yeah, we can do that.
So this next
Okay. Now we're rolling. 20 years in technology. Vlad, it's not like 20 years in any other kind of industry. It's sort of like 20 years is kind of like dog years. The landscape I think they're operating in is very different than the one that you started in. And well, it's nothing like the one that you started in. New platforms and new paradigms and new competitors every few years or every few weeks. And the fact that you didn't survive, I think, is a testament to not just that you didn't just survive, is a testament to not just luck, but certainly leadership, because you don't see a whole lot of 20-year anniversaries in this game. Maybe you will one day, but certainly not now. So congratulations. As the Member of Parliament to Thornhill, like, this is part of my constituency. It's always a pleasure to be back at this building. And I get to represent an incredible constituency, not just because I grew up here and I watched this place grow, but part of the reason why is because I get to be in rooms like this with really smart people, but more than that, innovators and creators. And that's really what Thornhill is. And when I get into these rooms in Thornhill, I realize that it's the exact opposite of every room that I'm in Ottawa. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Here, innovation is something to be celebrated and enabled. And in Ottawa, it becomes something that is managed and regulated and taxed. And by the time all of those white papers in Ottawa are drafted and revised and then put on some kind of shelf, the entire industry, or frankly any industry that I speak at, has moved on well beyond that. And yet the bureaucracy still insists on inserting itself into these industries with punitive taxes and regulation that makes it harder to build things. And the mindset at some point in this country, not when I was growing up in it, not when I went to school with it, not when I started my working years in it, but somewhere along the line, it went from how do we help people grow to how do we end up taking a cut of what's here. That's the Canada that we live in now. And it takes audacity, I think, to put big ideas out there. And the deal was always that if you risked something in this country, that you would be rewarded. That your ambition would actually strengthen the country. That's the country that I grew up in. That's the country that it's always been. But for the last decade, I think that equation has been inverted. And that's the thing that we need to change. Entrepreneurs, Vlad, and you'll know this really well, they're no longer seen as contributors. They're seen as sources of revenue to be regulated by the government in every single which way. And the consequences of this have been impossible to ignore over the last decade. The tax burden that Canadians face is a third higher than the Americans. Our productivity has stagnated to some of the worst levels amongst competitive countries. And nowhere is the gap more glaring, I think, today than AI. And you will all see this in your business. Canada didn't stumble on AI. It's not something that just happened to us like it's happening to other countries. We're actually the ones who built it. The foundational breakthroughs in AI and paving the way in AI happened in our own institutions, in our own universities, in Canadian universities. They planted the seed, and it's almost as if we've let somebody else harvest it. That's sort of where we are today. Fewer than 5% of Canadian companies have meaningfully integrated AI into their operations, and that's roughly half the American rate. So we're well behind where we were if you think about where we started. And meanwhile, Ottawa spent 2 years drafting an AI piece of legislation that confused the entire industry, that took 2 years to do, and then it was put on a shelf when they frankly abandoned it entirely. That creates a kind of uncertainty in this country that we actually can't afford. And uncertainty is a new tax, if you think about it. Canadian startups are paying that every single day, and our American competitors are not. And frankly, competitors in a lot of the European countries are not either. There's building a startup ecosystem. There's the things that you need to work together. So when I think about the things that I see in this part of the country, particularly in the GTA, it needs 4 things. It needs talent, it needs capital, it needs customers, and the 4th thing, it needs government to stay entirely out of the way. And today in Canada, we're 0 for 4 on those things. And that's, I think that should be of deep concern to everybody. We have world-class engineers graduating from world-class universities here, and then we're watching them leave for places like Texas, where you get paid in US dollars, and the tax structure doesn't punish you for actually leaving, and it doesn't punish you for things that are normal, like buying a home and raising a family. Our pension funds manage over $1 trillion in assets, and they invest more elsewhere in the world. Like, our pension funds build more highways in Turkey than they invest in Canadian infrastructure. And that's a problem. We're selling our draft picks at a very low price on the world market. Our main R&D tool, the SHRED tax credit, which I'm sure some of you in this room have had the experience of trying to apply, and oftentimes it costs you more in accountants and grant writers than actually comes back in the grant. And more than half of small and medium businesses, owners will tell you that they don't recommend starting a business here in Canada today. And that obviously wasn't the case 20 years ago, given that we're celebrating your milestone. Policies, I think, from Ottawa are killing startups, are killing businesses, and are killing an entire generation of young people that want to stay here. All of that to say, there is a survey that I read that actually got me thinking about this before I came to speak, and it was a Science Policy Network national survey. It found that nearly 2/3 of Canadian graduates said that they were likely to move abroad after graduation. And I start to feel this in my own peer group, where there isn't a social activity that I'm ever part of where the conversation doesn't move to, what are we thinking for the future of our families, or what are we thinking for the future of this country? Potentially, where are your kids thinking about going to school after they're done here? And those were conversations that we never had here. And the very fact that they're normalized conversation, that means that we've got to think about our skilled labor, our capital, our smartest people leaving the country for the first time as a norm. And it begs the simple question, like, why do you stay in Canada? And the answer to I think that question for a lot of people is usually one of 3 things. My family's here. I'm regulated by like a regulatory college or by some profession here, or I'm going to get crushed on the way out. Either my family has assets or I have assets and there is a tax on it that doesn't allow me to leave. And people who don't have any of those anchors, Those, I think, are the people that we need to worry about, because we can't build a successful country by making it hard to leave. We've got to build a successful country by making it easy to stay. That's the big difference. We can build, that's all the bad news. I think we can do this, and we can build a successful country, and I think that, Vlad, your work in creating a successful enterprise that has put food on the table for so many people is a microcosm of what Canada should be doing for our populations here. This is the place that I think many dreamed of coming here, right? Like this is the place that my parents dreamed of coming, or they dreamed of coming to a place like this. Canada was eventually their last stop, but my parents came here in the mid-1970s from the former Soviet Union. And they came here as my father was an uncredentialed engineer, and back in '75, with no language and a kid in tow, you were never going to get credentialed, or there wasn't the capacity to get credentialed, and we still have that problem here. But he drove a cab, and what that did is that it put my mom through school. It allowed him to buy a home in a safe neighborhood. It allowed him to raise 2 kids, teach them French and English, put them through university, and in 1 generation, you go from the front seat of the taxi to the front row of Parliament Hill. That's how it's supposed to work in Canada. And it absolutely doesn't, because we punish success here. And the point that I think the point that you should leave here is that we've got to fight for better. We've got to fight for better, not only for the people living here right now, but for the next generation who's thinking about leaving, because Ottawa doesn't get it. And when they don't get it, we should put people there who do get it. People who are not going to regulate us out of existence, who are not going to tax us out of prosperity, who are not going to punish success, who are going to reward entrepreneurship. And all of these sound like big ideas, but they're not that complicated. They're a product of government allowing those in industry to do what they do well, without the big sort of hand on top of them to tell them otherwise. I don't know if a cloud IT could survive 20 years if it started today. And that should be the thing that we think about. You could probably survive another 20 years because you've built the base necessary and you've built the capacity necessary. But for a new entrepreneur starting something here, we got to change a whole lot of things about this country, and that's exactly what I'm fighting for in Ottawa. It's exactly what my colleagues are fighting for in Ottawa. And it's more than just a business climate that attracts investment and doesn't scare it away. It's our immigration policy that doesn't match our labor force needs, that doesn't match the housing that is required, or the social services or the healthcare system that we have and the capacity that we have. It is security and screening and the allowance of bringing not only your culture, which is very welcomed in this country, we've always welcomed that, but we want to be able to tell people to check their problems at the door and live in a cohesive society here. These are very normal things to advocate, and they've become very abnormal in Canada. And I think we've lost our way at some point. And the thing that I'm fighting for, which I'm happy to take your questions after, I don't know how long we have. You can ask specific questions about this. But if we don't get our ducks in a row now, I think we're going to lose the race to the future. We obviously have an issue with a longtime friend and partner, the Americans, on certainly in some industries that are massive, that put the balance of 2.8 million jobs and a whole lot of families at risk on steel tariffs, aluminum tariffs, on auto, and for a long time now on softwood lumber. We have a CUSMA renegotiation happening in the very near future, whenever that is, whenever the government will tell us that is. We've got a lot of outside pressures, and I think pretending that we can replace all of this by new trade agreements with smaller countries that are not next to us, I think is a pipe dream. So in order to win the future, I think we got to get our ducks in a row, use our own leverage. You should leave here thinking that Canada could be the richest place on earth. We could be an energy superpower. We have enough natural gas and oil and critical minerals to power ourselves for a generation and displace a lot of that dictator oil that's funding the wars on the other side of the planet. We have enough smart people graduating from world-class universities to be able to do the things that we used to do. We built the railroad. We invented insulin. We used to think really big in this country. We have enough farmers, enough fields to feed us and feed big parts of the rest of the world. We have the human ingenuity to do all that. We have enough land, enough lumber, enough labor to be able to buy houses that aren't the most expensive in the G7. We have household debt levels that are far beyond our own capacity because the government doesn't know how to stop spending. We've got the highest food inflation and grocery prices in the G7, and we shouldn't because we grow enough food in the world. So if you think about one thing today, think about what Canada could be, what it was, and what it should be going forward. And if those things aren't being delivered to you by politicians, you should demand more from them. And when the government doesn't do what it says that it's going to do, and believe me, we'll work with the government where it makes sense. We'll oppose them on the policy that doesn't make sense, and we'll expose the things that they're not telling you. But when they don't act in accordance with what we should be in Canada, you should vote them out and replace them with a government that actually takes this seriously. On all of that, I wanted to thank you for the invitation and thank you for letting me speak to this group. We're going to do the opposite of what question period is. We're going to have an answer period. Oftentimes, we ask the government a whole lot of questions. We don't get a whole lot of answers, and I'm hoping that I can provide you with some answers today to clarify that. We can do that for 5 minutes, I'm being told. Does that work? Yep. Okay. He's not going to be able to hear your question, so I'm going to repeat it. Unless you don't have any, and then we can just hang out for 5 minutes. All right.
What's your position about fraud and election criminal thing? I think the police is more focused on that physical attacks or like crimes, but in the police department, they might not have enough intelligence police officers to focus on the people who use their brain to commit crimes. So this is bother our business persons a lot. Because anything you have a complaint, go to the police station, they will say, oh, this is civil, go to civil.
Yeah.
If you go civil, you have to hire a lawyer. So sometimes it's very hard to get things, get the justice. So what's the government's thoughts in the future to manage this?
So I think there's a lot in that question. I didn't touch on it, but crime, chaos, drugs, disorder, like all of that I think exists in a way in Canada where it never existed before. And I'll answer your specific question on fraud. But first and foremost, to stop the criminality in our neighborhoods, we've had 5 shootings in this area within the last month. I grew up in this area my entire life, and 5 would be a massive number over the course of 2 or 3 years, not just a month in this Canada. So we have repeat violent offenders churned out onto the street the second they are released because we have a weak bail system. And any cop will tell you that. We have some semblance of the government moving in a direction where they're thinking about fixing this, but I don't think it goes far enough. We have a weak bail system that doesn't put the repeat criminals behind bars. And I'm not talking about a 19-year-old that was caught with drugs. We don't have to lock up everybody. But we certainly do have to lock up violent repeat offenders so they commit less crimes. I'll give you a crazy stat, but a couple of years ago, the mayor of Vancouver put this out, but it's 40 criminals arrested 6,000 times in the course of a year. 6,000 arrests So various charges, but that's about 150 a day. And what that tells you is the good news is I don't think there's a lot of criminals in Canada. Certainly not repeat violent offenders. The bad news is that it's the same ones that commit the crime over and over again. So we need to get serious about bail. We need politicians that are serious about standing behind the police boards. We have a great mayor here in Vaughan, if you happen to live here, who is in touch with our police, whose representative serves on our police services board, whose cops are protecting our community, and right down the line on Steeles Avenue with a mayor in Toronto who spent the better part of her career speaking against the police and has foregone her spot on the police services board. We're not in a world where politicians tell cops what to do, but we are in a world where leadership and tone comes from the top. And those two examples of what it's like to live in Vaughan versus what it's like to live in Toronto on the daily basis of somebody who is facing crime is a very different reality. Now, on fraud, we have weak money laundering rules in this country. We have tried to change it, and the government has signaled that they're going to get tougher on this. But we have an overextended police force that are catching the same criminals over and over again, where some of this stuff is going by the wayside. And we have to get serious in this country, understanding or telling people that that crime is absolutely a problem. It's not a problem that we think we usually have in Canada, but it's one that has gotten significantly worse over the last decade. And we haven't even I can see this room, but we haven't even touched on the hate crimes that have gone up in this country by hundreds of %. So we can do that.
What's the actual policy direction that your government or your party would like to take to solve those issues? Well, from policy, but also it's kind of really tough from a geopolitical standpoint to decouple ourselves in theory from the United States, because that's been the way it's been for the last post-World War II.
I agree with you, and I don't think decoupling ourselves is the way forward. We have a neighbor, and people die to be in our position to be next to one of the most powerful, richest economies in the world that has changed the way that I've never known a life without free trade. I was born in the 80s. The middle class in this country was created because of free trade, and there's no getting away from that, and we can't replace this agreement. But we've got to get serious about standing up for ourselves and using our leverage, developing our oil and gas, killing legislation that doesn't allow investors to invest here. C-69, our anti-pipeline legislation that doesn't allow us to build. The tanker ban on the West Coast needs to be gone. An oil and gas cap in Alberta that would ensure that no proponent ever builds a pipeline here because we can't fill a pipeline. Well, we got one fan there. And then, on things like inflation and housing, in order to get inflation down in the country, we've got to stop spending frivolously as a Canadian government. We have a prime minister now who spent double what Justin Trudeau actually spent. So we have a $65 billion deficit. We now pay more on debt servicing that cost than we do on healthcare and than we do on the GST. All of those things on housing, we've got to incentivize municipalities through government funding or through lack of government funding to make sure that we get those rates down, because you're paying about $135 grand before a shovel even hits the ground in Vaughan to buy a home. We've got to cut the HST on all housing, not just on first-time home buyers, not on just new houses under $1.3 million, because look around. The houses aren't $1.3 million anymore, or they're certainly not under that. Those are some of the things. Most of those are get us under control, use our leverage, and get out of the way of the people trying to build this country.
Melissa, talking about incentives,
Yeah.
do you happen to know about anything happening for AI grants or incentives for businesses from the government?
Yeah, we have. So one of the things that was encouraging from this government when they took office is that they actually named a minister of AI. So we still sort of await what's within that ministerial capacity, what's going to happen, like less about the regulatory framework and more about building, but we haven't seen anything. The one thing that still exists, obviously, is the SR&ED credit, but I'll invite you to look at some of the things that, so I mean, the answer is no, not yet, but I don't know if something's going to come, and we're happy to follow up with you. I'd invite you to look at some of the stuff that an organization called Build Canada is putting out. It's entrepreneurs from all over the country that have a vested interest in Canada winning. And they have some interesting policy ideas that we've latched onto as well. We'll take one more and then, or are you cutting me off?
You mentioned in your discussions in your peer groups that there's some concern about how you prepare or how you advise your kids about what the future is going to be like for them. What do you see as the government's role in helping prepare the next generation for the future economy?
Well, one is to give them the hope that they can do everything. So right now, for a young person in this country, if you're not being held back by anything, the math doesn't work, right? So your parents worked whatever they did, and they were able to get things that you're not going to get. So housing values is one of those. If you can't have a house, you can't have lots of other things. Family formation is delayed because of that. So it's housing, it's getting the price of groceries and energy down in this country because it makes the price of everything else go up. We have to make the basics of cost of living make sense for people to stay. And then we can, encourage them to take the other big risks that it's going to take for entrepreneurs to make it here. I was sitting at a dinner with a couple of successful entrepreneurs, one who just left his gig to build something 5 years ago, and today it's a business of 160 people in the payment services business. And in order for him to have made that jump, he needed a big cushion to do it. So we're not getting the risk taking that is necessary. At the other side of the table was a young entrepreneur who is sort of a prodigy story, but he started when he was 19. He had nothing to give up. He had and this was obviously 20 years ago when he did that. Those are the kinds of things that we have to encourage. That kind of if we don't do that now, we're not going to have the next, the next Shopify or the next Float or the next big business in Canada if we can't get people to stay here. So taxes, regulation, cost of living is mostly the answer on that. Vlad, thank you so much for having me. I hope that was helpful for everybody. Thanks for doing this in Thornhill.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. Oh, we brought you something. Obviously, I forget it. We brought you a little certificate to 20 more years of doing business here. Well, we'll do this.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Nice to see you.
Okay. Yusuf, thank you for having once again. Okay. Now, we have Kyle from Foxit. Okay, so one of the great examples of what we recently been talking about, how monopoly, and said it clear, Adobe killing all the rest around them. But there are several young companies who provide, because PDF protocol is not a proprietary protocol anymore, so other companies have right to use it and build their products based on that protocol and around this protocol. So Foxit is one of those relatively young companies who do a very good job and provide an absolutely 100% replacement for Adobe Acrobat. Same functionality, even more cheaper. And better.
All right. Thank
Kyle,
you.
please.
Thank you, Live Cloud IT. Very happy to be here. Great partners. Many of you may not know Foxit. The clip notes is Adobe is really expensive for small and medium-sized businesses. DocuSign is really expensive for small and medium-sized businesses. We offer the exact same product at a fraction of the price. We're much easier to deal with from a customer service perspective. I'm following an MP. Shared Services Canada is a Foxit customer. They have hundreds of thousands of Foxit licenses shared across federal employees in Canada. How many people are Google Chrome or Gmail users? Our technology is operating on the back end of the native PDF rendering in Gmail and Google Chrome. Has anyone ever read a Kindle on an Amazon Kindle? Foxit PDF technology is running on the back end of your Kindle to allow you to read the books that you're reading. So our technology is all over the place in really big organizations, and we also help with small and medium-sized businesses as well. Yep.
Is that it?
All right.
Yeah, here it is.
So customers love us. Our customer satisfaction scores are very high, especially with SMB. It's because we're easy to reach. If you look at review websites like G2, we outscore Adobe and DocuSign from small and medium-sized business owners. And you can see that in our awards. Foxit PDF Editor and Foxit PDF Editor Plus would be your Acrobat Standard and Acrobat Pro replacements. Foxit eSign would be your DocuSign replacement. We also have AI built directly into our PDF editor. You can do things such as translate the document in text. You can summarize. We were first to market with AI in a PDF editor over 2.5 years ago. Acrobat has since come on board, obviously, because AI is the future. But we have a ways to automate our products as well. If you have 5, 10, 15 people that would need a PDF editor, you can manage it in a console. You can automate licenses with provisioning to those users. You can set up single sign-on. Anything you're doing in Acrobat, you can do in Foxit. And that's the big thing that we want to get across is Adobe is basically the Kleenex of the tissue world. It's a name brand. It's always been there. Hand me a Kleenex. But Foxit we can do the exact same thing as Adobe can do in this space. And I think the big thing with Foxit AI is we want to help condense the amount of time it takes you to work through documents. We have a product called Smart Redact. This is an AI-based redaction tool. Law firms can go through tedious, painstaking hours and hours of manually redacting documents. With our Smart Redact tool, you can search multiple profiles. You can look for trends in documents, in legal briefs, whatever it may be, and you can redact, hundreds of pages in the span of seconds. So this is a tool that's been picked up and used by many law firms across North America. Our e-sign solutions are very simple, very easy to use, native. You do not need a Foxit account to sign if someone sends you a Foxit document for signature. It's compliant, it's HIPAA compliant, 22, Part 11. We meet all the recommended and legal requirements. The biggest thing for us is, again, from a pricing perspective, we are typically 40 to 50% less expensive than Acrobat and about 20 to 35% less expensive than a DocuSign. It's very easy to move from those big companies to Foxit as well. Our onboarding process is thorough. We educate users, we educate admins. Our product looks and feels like a Microsoft product because we use the ribbon technology. So the same user experience that you get in Word, Excel, PowerPoint is the same layout and experience you get in Foxit. So adoption is very easy to come by, and we help support that. Please feel free to take a photo of this QR code if you want to try out Foxit. We do offer free trials. You can test the product. You can use the product. You can ask questions. Cloud IT as a partner, Synnex as a partner. We'd be happy to work with all of you if you have an interest in learning more and testing to see if this is a fit for your self or your business. Thank you. Any questions about Foxit or PDF or eSign? Go.
Is there a tool that I can upload the document, the original document, I can see Foxit can scan it and tell me if it was redacted before or not? In terms
Yes.
of cooperation?
Yes. So if you have a document, so one point to get across, PDF is a global file format. So what you're doing with a PDF in Acrobat, you can take that same document and move it into Foxit, and it's going to be interacted with in the exact same manner. If you had a Word document that you drafted and you wanted to pull it into Foxit, all you have to do is take that file from your File Explorer, drag it into the Foxit app. It automatically converts it to a PDF, and then you can engage with it in that space. Same thing is true the other way. If you had a PDF and you wanted to convert a chart to an Excel, you can easily convert it into an Excel file from Foxit directly in the application. So it's very easy to interact. It's very intuitive and natural. If you wanted to take the PDF you were using and then get assigned, you can use the application and request signature, drag and drop the fields, send the file out for signature as a legally binding document. So it's all intuitive, it's all done with inside the application, and it's very easy to use.
So what's the difference between the free version and the subscribed version?
So the free version is like a reader. You can open the document, you can kind of move it around, you can maybe do like a fill-in sign or some very light massaging of the document. If you actually wanted to edit the document, convert document, redact things, Bates numbering, all these sorts of features you might do in Acrobat, you would need the paid version. So once you get to the editing stage of a file, you would need the editor for paid.
So it's like it's online version or I have to download the app?
You can use this to download the application or sign up for a free trial. You can use Foxit on your laptop, tablet, smartphone. It's available to use on all platforms.
Is commenting considered editing or still viewing?
Commenting, I would have to get back to you. I don't think the comment feature is in the free reader. I think that's exclusively in the editor.
So I work with a construction management firm where we've got some pretty huge like architectural specification files, maybe like 1,500 pages.
Sure.
I'm trying to work with Copilot as well, but a PDF of that size, Copilot doesn't like so much. For breaking that down into individual kind of bite-sized pieces.
Yeah.
Would the AI tool be able to kind of identify and break up the sections even if it wasn't built up that way?
Yeah, so it would be something we'd want to test together. There's native tools built into Foxit that could potentially work for what you're looking for, but the AI assistant could add additional value into those native workflows that we already have. Yeah, definitely worth testing. We work with law firms that have, thousands of pages of legal briefs. So we can work with that scope and size of a document, but we just want to test with you. Yeah.
Well, thank you
Thanks,
very much.
everyone. Yep.
Okay. I know that. Yeah. Oh, okay. I know that I'm last one between you and lunch. So I will be very quick. As a regular event, it's a sales event, and oh, okay. Once again, that's what we are doing. When people's asking me, what are you doing? I say, you know what? It's much easier for me to tell you what we don't do. We don't write a code. We don't build the websites. We don't do the social media optimization. We have partners for that. All the rest, IT related, you are very welcome. So, call to action. Event incentives from vendors that you can get if you reach out to us and place your order before end of June 2026. And as you can see, each promise have to have a name behind it. Okay? So, Microsoft, backed by Ashley Evans. Copilot business licenses, 5+1. If you are buying 5 licenses before end of June, you have 2 options. You can get a 6th license for free, or you can get 20% off for 1 year from the day of purchase. Backed by Mr. Vladimir Kolomeisky. Copilot readiness assessment. Usually, from a small company, it's vary from $3,000 to $5,000, 50% off. If you are doing that, if you are ordering that before end of June. Backed by Dell and Lenovo. $15 off for each $1,000 spent for hardware purchase. Backed by Fortinet. If you are buying firewall and annual subscription, or if you are buying endpoint solution, 1 month free on an annual contract. Once again, baked by us, by Earl. Free meeting room assessment and design. As Earl said, different rooms have different requirements in video perspective, in acoustical perspective, in placing of the microphones. So we will do room assessment and design for free. Baked by me, personally. Copilot prompting basics. Prompting 101. 1 hour free training if you are reaching out to me until end of June. Foxit. 1 month free on an annual contract. Thank you. Now, Yuval. Now, we have several door prizes today, and we are going to do the draw. Yep. Okay, we have stuff from Lenovo. We have stuff from Dell, from Microsoft. Yep. Here's the stuff. No. You all doing it electronically. Extend the screen. Extend. Mm-hmm. Переведи это сюда. Okay.
I'm not cheating. I'm using Copilot. I'm using Copilot. You see? I'm using Copilot.
Okay. As usual, you have to be present in the room to get it.
So what's first? Keyboard.
Keyboard. Provided by Lenovo.
Hopefully with mouse. Oh, it's Lenovo, guys.
Brian Genscher, not
it's
here.
Supposed to be together? Keyboard, mouse?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, sorry.
Okay. Not here.
Sam.
Not here. Okay.
Okay, again.
Next.
Fabrizio. Not here either. Okay.
Are you removing them? They're not here?
I'm making it quicker. I don't have all day.
Yep.
Owen. Hey.
If it works, it's Vladimir. If it doesn't work, it's Lenovo.
Yeah. Every time. Huh? Oh, this is together too?
Yep. Okay.
They're just cutting the presents. Okay. So we have a small notebook with a pen and nice holder and USB docking station. Travel. No, I didn't see it.
Alex.
Huh. He's not allowed to do it. Okay, Dell USB.
Speaker.
Speaker and docking station. Travel. Very good thing. I have one. Very good.
You watching?
Yeah, come on. Ravi. Ravi? Here?
Nope.
Nope.
Next.
Mayor. Sutri. Right here. Next. They're lost. Leon? Nobody here. Okay? Excuse me? I have no idea. Marshall, not here. Next.
Yes.
No?
Nope.
Next.
Okay.
You guys take this name. Luciano?
Yes.
No.
So all real registrants. Somebody didn't come. Somebody watching online.
No. Next.
Come on.
Mama? Next. I'll come in a second.
I got an idea.
Mike G. I have no idea who's G.
I can go for another one.
Ryan? No. Next. I don't know where these people. Lena.
Lena, come here. Okay, so this is a backpack provided by TD SYNNEX and Microsoft.
No, wait.
Wait.
We're gonna have one.
All right, I'm going to do the first ever honesty raffle. All right, so there's maybe 25 people left, you think? All right, so everyone think of a number between 1 and 25. Think about it in your head. And I'm going to say a number. And if you're thinking of the number I said, and you're going to win a speaker.
Good luck.
All right. Number 14. Yay!
Expect more people saying they thought it well done.
Okay, next. Elmer?
Huh?
Again?
It's my lucky day today. Now we have a back to put this.
So that's the laptop sleeve.
No, don't take it out.
Okay, it's laptop sleeve provided by Intel. Dell, Intel, Dell, probably Dell. Yep.
John. No, next. Sorry? No, okay. Joel. Next.
Andrei, congratulations. Thank you for coming. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. Thank you for being with us this long day. I hope you got very useful, good information to put your mind. Lunch behind the door. We are here for another hour and a half to answer your questions. Thank you.